work early in the morning. Super Bowl team and now these haters salty. Rockin' Zenny shades to the championship ship. That Nick Bosa drop him hard like a hit stick. The Jimmy Ward intercept him with a big six. Like Debo, we gon' knock him like a brick. The trade lands play action to a drop back. When the blitz coming quick, the old line gon' block that. RPO with Kyle Juice. Mitchell and George Kittle, can't nobody stop that. Stand behind Kyle Shanny all the way. It's like a game of chess when he called a play. Brendan Ayuk on the center fade. Bang, bang, Niner gang all day. I'm talking big body Trent Williams and Seaward.
George Kittle.
I always love the intro.
See, you're focusing on George Kittle, and I'm like, why the hell couldn't Jordan Mason finish off that run?
I know.
I'm like, come on, man.
Out of steam.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to IE Sports Radio. I'm Niners Jess, along with Ty Alston, Maddie B, and your girl Bex. We are the East Coast Red and Gold. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
All
the
right.
opposite of warm. Yes.
Just a little stress with Christmas.
Yeah, a little stress. It's going to get real cold in Jersey.
Oh, yeah, too. This
weekend. Yeah. But yeah, we have a lot to get to tonight. We have the West Coast joining us, which is cool. Amin the Dream will be on shortly. And right now we have Niner Beto from Niner Sickness Podcast. What's going on?
Up.
The home and home series.
Myself. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited. Christmas is almost here. All the shopping has been done.
Nice.
Not looking forward to all the grandkids though. But I don't mean that in a bad way. Just they can get loud. But you know, the good thing is they get to go back home, which is nice. But other than that, I can't wait for Saturday, Christmas Eve game against the Commanders.
Exactly.
How many grandkids?
So they change their name next year to something else.
7.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I taught my kids well.
There. Oh, go ahead.
I taught my kids how to reproduce very well.
Dude's crazy.
And quickly, apparently. Quickly.
Yeah.
Good.
Hey, if you want to be 100% Latino, you got to reproduce.
Big family.
All right. So later on in the show, we're going to do a jersey and playmaker chain giveaway. For the jersey, it's any player you choose. And the playmaker chain's actually, it's pretty cool. Let me show that up here. That's the chain made by Mike of Ready Customs on Instagram. He does awesome work. He did a couple things for me already.
You gotta hook me up with him.
Yes, definitely. He's really good at what he does. All right. So first things first, let's discuss division champs versus Seattle. What's up, Maddie?
In the words
I'm raising my hand in celebration and excitement.
Oh, I thought you were raising your hand.
That was you win that game, you win the division, right? And sure enough, you win that game and you literally win the division. Here's your hat, here's your t-shirt. Congratulations, the division is yours, right? 2 teams are in the playoffs right now. Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. If I had told you in week 4, hey, fun fact, how about after the Denver game? Hey, fun fact, we're going to clinch. We're going to be one of 2 teams in the playoffs like before Christmas.
We're going to clinch for week 15.
Week 15, right? And with a very, very good shot at least the 2 seed. And fun fact, possibly the 1 seed, depending on the quarterback situation, right? There's all sorts of shenanigans that can go on right now. All sorts.
Gotta love it.
Positive shenanigans. Positive for everybody. It was great. And the best part of the Kittle play is the fact that Shanahan dug into the vault, the greatest hits, Bill Walsh archive, right? You know, and pulled that play out. And just they have access. They all have access to that. Every single film, every single everything, all the meetings, all the everything, right? So just to be able to go back and dial that up, take a little pressure off your rookie quarterback who's basically running a grade 1 sports hernia out there for like just basic in 3 days after getting it. P.S. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Everything seems to be falling into place at the right time.
Yeah.
I'm scared to say that out loud. Right?
Oh,
That's
true,
what seems to be
but-
happening, right?
I
like to say things like
candlestick
things
there.
are trending in the correct direction, but you never know, right? It's the National Football League. There's, you go back
Exactly.
and watch some of the older games, and games against Washington are never seem to be easy, and they usually seem to be pivotal. And can't overlook Saturday. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but still a lot of victory laps. Like pretty much ended Seattle's season, right? Like pretty much wrapped them up and sent their neon green out the door. It was really nice. It's a good time. It's a good time. It's always a good time.
Real quick, what's up to David, Taryn, Troy? What's up, everybody?
What's going
Thanks
on,
for
guys?
joining. Thanks for your support, as always. So, Beto, what did you think of the win against Seattle?
I loved it. I love that we are finally back where we belong. Finally taking care of the Seahawks, beating them twice. I see it shifting from where the Seattle Seahawks has been dominant throughout the years to maybe now the Niners taking the reins back, where it rightfully belongs to them, being on top of the NFC West. This one was a little bit different than the 2019 particular game where both games by beating the Seahawks gave us the NFC Championship of the West, but this game was a little different because we had a third string quarterback playing in his first game in front of a hostile crowd. As people may, whether you like the Seahawks or not, the 12 is no joke. They're very faithful fans. They love their team, and they're very, very loud, destructive to opposing offenses. And this kid looked poised. He looked like he's been playing for years, and he did not allow the situation being on primetime TV, the noise, the crowd, to distract him for what the job that he had to do is to just get the ball in his playmakers' hands. And whenever you lose a player of the caliber of Deebo Samuel, you need and you almost expect some of your other playmakers to step up and fill the role. And the old man George Kittle did that. He says, you know what, Deebo, you're not playing. I'm going to step up and I'm going to carry this offense on my shoulders. And with 2 touchdowns, what a game, man. It was exciting. And not to be mean towards Geno Smith, but the kid could not breathe. He was being suffocated by our D linemen. I mean, and people might always judge by sacks, but I go more by pressures. How much pressure that are being caused. Sacks are nice, but it's pressures. Are you in the quarterback's face? Are you disrupting what he's trying to do? Making his reads, and I saw all of that. So that game excited me in an area where it just made me more believe that we can go all the way with this third string quarterback because of his poise and his demeanor.
I agree with this, Taryn. The NFC West outside of the Niners has underachieved. Yes, the Seahawks are still in contention, but Geno is regressing, and the clock is ready to strike midnight on them with Kansas City up next. Agree with this.
Yeah.
1-12 teams records
Sunday.
after they face the
After they
49ers.
play the Niners.
Yeah.
Right? So you might as well just slap a little 1-13 onto that and figure out the spread from there on your own.
Mhm.
Right?
Yep.
Like that's where it is.
Yeah. How's Tua doing after that game against the Niners? His game has not been the same.
Not
Yeah.
There
very
have
well.
been guys that have completely had their seasons derailed after playing this team, right? Just
Yeah.
shout out to the Chargers for finding their way back, I guess. That's about it, right? Like that's who you got. Like when you really think about it.
In Kansas City.
And
they were the
Tampa
only
looked good for
other one.
half, right? And then they're like, oops, nope, not so much.
So, Becca, what did you think of the game?
I was pleasantly surprised. I thought the Seahawks would play us a little tougher. And to just see, I was a little concerned on short rest and Purdy being hurt, how well he would come out and perform. And, to Beto's point, he maintained his poise and composure and just really, really overperformed my expectations, really. But, I think I had the most fun watching Shavarius Ward shut down Metcalf all night long and have him so frustrated. And then I just watched the mic'd up film with Trent Williams, and he just took everyone out. He was so clutch in opening holes for McCaffrey on the touchdown run, and just really, really was just this major key to victory there. I mean, wow. As he said at the end of that film, he's like, "Where's my shirt? Somebody owes me a shirt."
Yep. Where's my shirt?
DK Metcalf is still missing, by the way.
Yeah, he will be, I think, for the rest of the season. So
DK Stanford don't know after
don't
that.
know.
Right?
I had read something today where he said that the refs don't even talk to him anymore.
They
Wow.
shouldn't. All he does is complain.
Yeah.
Complain and hold.
Looks like
Right?
Yeah.
It's like one of those heel wrestlers that is constantly like pushing the Hebner brothers or something. Like the same deal, right? Same ball of wax. Like eventually they're just not going to listen to that. Eventually he'll grow out of it, but by then it'll be too late and his reputation will have already preceded him. He'll eventually get some sort of like suspension that nobody would expect they would get because it's him, right?
Mm-hmm.
He'll get 2 personal fouls in his first quarter and fantasy players will go berserk. It'll probably happen in the fantasy playoffs because that's just how that works around here, right? Just how those things go. But you see that stuff all the time. That's one thing I really like about the 49ers. You don't see them doing stuff like that, right? Like there's a lot of that junk on this team last year, a lot of taunting, personal fouls, whatever. Just about everything this year, has been random officiating BS, right? Like just
that too, Taryn.
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
Didn't catch Metcalf. I like that, Taryn.
Yep.
We don't mind.
It fits.
It's fine.
It fits. Don't
It
worry.
fits.
I mean,
It does.
honestly, I feel like
name is
Noah's
approved.
spelt wrong. Like they put a K in front of it, and you don't even use it. Like, what is the point? I'll never
Exactly.
understand that. See, why
Ty,
would
what'd
they
you
just
think
put
of
a
the
K
game?
in front of never? Who knows?
It was a good game. It was a good game, I was fearful of Seattle just because of weird things happened in Seattle. And it did. I don't agree with Seattle always dominates us. We dominate ourselves. We always shoot ourselves in the foot in Seattle. Combine that with the refs on their BS in Seattle, always spells doom for us. And we got a little bit of that in this game, but it wasn't a constant ongoing thing, right? So I think it was great. We were able to, do our thing on defense, hold them down. We jumped on them early, scored, which totally took the crowd out of it. The crowd only got into it, I think, that one point where they punted, and we were deep in their deep in our own territory, like near their goal line.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when the crowd got into it. But other than that, the 12th man was very silent on the night.
Well,
So that made for an easy night.
You make a good point about the refs. We didn't let them determine the game this time. I mean, they made plenty of calls, but we played this game and scored points and didn't let that be the defining influence of how the outcome would turn out.
Yeah,
they played our game.
The refs were definitely flag happy for a bit. It was
that one play where we all know it. There's 7 refs on the field, and somehow there's 12 flags thrown. How did that happen? Like they're just throwing out extra flags, and they were all on us.
Throwing flags from the beginning of it, and it was
like how'd that happen? So yeah, we still were able to overcome all that, do our thing, and come out with the win like we should have. So it was great. It's great to see the execution on both sides of the ball, and special teams. Can't forget about them. and it showed, we are the team to be reckoned with, So it's great.
Can I ask a non-Seattle related question?
Sure.
Who do you think the 49ers Pro Bowlers are? How many of them do you think there are?
6.
Yeesh.
I believe there was at least 6 or 7 on the list.
Yeah.
There probably should be like 9 or 10 in reality.
I mean, honestly, shouldn't the entire lineup be made of all of them?
The whole defense should be.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
agree. Yeah.
Ready? You've got fullback Kyle Juszczyk, tight end George Kittle. I mean, and reminder, this is just for contract benefits. Like, they're going to be playing the Super Bowl, so like they're not even going to be in this game. This flag football game, beach volleyball thing. Everybody apparently forgot about Robert Edwards. Look it up. It's fine.
Hey, Maddie, hang on
Williams.
1 second. Hang on 1 second.
Mhm.
We got Amin the Dream coming in.
Amin is in too.
What's up, Amin?
What's
up,
up,
my guy?
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Doing good.
What's up,
Welcome
Amin?
to the show.
What's up? Thank you. Pleasure to be on.
Yeah, we're just right now. Maddie's just going over the Pro Bowl.
Go ahead.
I mean, and again, it does not. The cool part is this is just for contract benefits. Congratulations to these guys on the contract benefits. You will not play this football game, I assure you. Just fun fact. Nick Bosa, defensive end. You might have heard of him. He's in there.
Maybe.
I think so.
Fred Warner, inside linebacker. And strong safety, Talanoa Hufanga.
Mm-hmm. You can see that.
And that's your 49ers Pro Bowlers.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole
Somehow Andrew DePaula from Minnesota made it over Tabor Pepper, and I want to recount. Like,
wow.
But what can you do?
Can we have a runoff?
Nobody from the offense?
Yeah, right.
No, you had Kittle from the offense.
You said Kittle.
I'm sorry, Kittle.
Juice, Kittle, and Trent Williams.
You know what threw me off is I didn't hear McCaffrey. But
Miles Sanders is over McCaffrey.
What?
Yeah, you got 3 from each. You got 3. You have 3 on offense and 3 on defense.
Okay.
Best defense in the league. Only three Pro Bowls.
I do like the Hufanga's in there, man. The kid's been playing lights out. He's been playing a wonderful game, man, and so I'm excited for him
from the beginning.
He has, but there's one thing about him that he does tend to do, and Ty notices this more than anybody. He usually calls it the breakdowns that have happened over the last few weeks. I've been lucky enough to get a couple of them called back.
Right.
Blessed be the officials. Have been him missing the call, right? Now he's out there doing all the other stuff and heat-seeking missile stuff, so it totally makes up for it. But there's still some improvement he needs to do on like reading and stuff like that. And he'd probably be the first one to admit that, because if you go back to the Tampa game, the one that got held back, that was Brady called that play right out. Hufanga at the last second couldn't get over there. So, it's cool though. It's cool that all the other stuff is still going to get him into that spot, right? He's a big play guy. He makes that big play. But there's still times that he causes the big play. I'd like to see that die down a little bit.
Well, that touchdown to the tight end in Seattle was a mishap by Hufanga.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I mean, we got to remember, this guy is basically super young. This is his second season.
Mm-hmm.
He still has a lot to learn. So you're going to see the ups and the downs. We saw he almost had an interception in the first half against Seattle when they were driving. Well, he was in the perfect spot for it. Could have picked it off. And then in the second half, we saw he blew the coverage. So that's kind of what you're going to get, until he learns to completely stay disciplined and read his keys.
There's definitely more good than bad. But
and that's the key.
Yeah.
I think that the 3 weeks in a row of the whole blown coverage thing, I think that's kind of gets annoying after a while. I mean, what did you think of the Seattle game?
I mean, I loved it, right? The Niners obviously clinched the division, And credit to Brock Purdy, because Brock Purdy's been playing 3 great weeks of football, not turning over the football, making great decisions, being poised in the pocket. It looks like he's comfortable in the games. And credit to Brock Purdy, because he's played a huge part in some of these wins, and the offense has been really good when Brock Purdy took under center. And one thing about after the Seattle game is that there's a narrative that a lot of Niners fans talk about, and just the national media talk about, which is the Niners can't win football games without Jimmy Garoppolo. And now with Brock Purdy, you've started to realize, especially the last 3 weeks of him, being the starter and him coming in, is that no, the Niners can win games without Jimmy Garoppolo. It's just they haven't had a competent enough quarterback or a capable enough quarterback to do that the last couple of years. And they've dealt with a plethora of injuries the last couple of years when Jimmy Garoppolo has gotten hurt. That's the big thing, right? And that's when a lot, and I've said that before, but that's something that a lot of people don't look at, is the injuries, right? We Fred Warner got hurt, Bosa got hurt, on top of already Jimmy Garoppolo getting hurt. So many injuries we've had, but now with Brock Purdy and a healthy roster for the most part, and Brock Purdy just making good decisions, the Niners can win football games. And the same thing that we were saying about Jimmy Garoppolo the last couple of weeks is, Jimmy, continue what you're doing. Don't put the ball in harm's way. Make smart decisions. And the Niners started winning football games. And obviously Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, but Brock Purdy's been able to do that the last 3 weeks. He's making smart decisions. He's being accurate for the most part. Now, obviously, he does throw his interception probably a game. There was an interception in the Saints game that got called back. Now, he does make mistakes at times, but at the same time, he's made good decisions for the most part. And the Niners can win football games with Brock Purdy. And this whole narrative now, especially with what we've seen with Brock Purdy been able to do the last couple of weeks, this whole narrative of the Niners can't win games with Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, should kind of stop at this point, because we've seen the Niners, yes, they can win games without Jimmy Garoppolo. They just haven't had the competent quarterback to do that, and they've dealt with so many injuries the last couple of years. But now with a healthy roster and Brock Purdy, playing at such a high level, I think, they are able to win football games. And I think that finally that debate should have been settled, or that narrative should have been settled after that Seattle game.
Applaud that man. Nail on the head. Nail on the head. Because no one talks about what you mentioned. Like Jimmy's been hurt. We can't win games without him. When no one talks about when Jimmy was hurt, there were games where Trent Williams was also hurt.
Right.
And Juice was hurt. And Debo was hurt. And players on defense was hurt. They just look at the worst stat in football, which is quarterback record, which we all know is crap.
Flawed.
It just is. It's false, right? We've seen games where a quarterback has done nothing and the team has won, but the quarterback gets the win. Guess what? If a quarterback starts the game and gets injured on the very first play, the team goes on to win, the win goes on his record. It's a crap stat, but you're right. No one looks at, everything surrounding the team. They just look at that one little thing. And I said this weeks ago, with the way Kyle is dialing up plays for the quarterback, you just keep it simple, stupid. Get the ball to the open man. And we saw in this Seattle game that George Kittle's 2 touchdown receptions. There was no one close to him on both of them. He was wide open. Middle of the field, side of the field, off the field. Doesn't matter. He was wide open.
I'm sure you guys heard me scream all the way in New Jersey, right?
We did. We heard the cheers.
I knew it. I could feel it.
I thought it was an angry moose outside. It just turned out to be you. I usually just assume it's an angry moose. I'm in Maine. That's how that works. But,
last week I had 2 rants. One was about Tom Brady, and we saw what he did on Sunday. But the other was get the ball to George Kittle. And I know that CMC is important, and he does great things, and the offense kind of goes around him. But for me, still the guy that just juvenates the offense and gets everyone going and is a needle mover is George Kittle. And I like the fact that, there was an emphasis on getting him the ball. Besides the 2 touchdowns, there were times where we were trying to get him the ball on one-on-one situations. And that's what I want to see more of. because that means our offense will be moving well.
And what I keep saying is good things happen when George Kittle gets involved.
Indeed.
They score more points and they look more fluid every time.
Yeah.
Ty just nailed it. He's a needle mover. He's the guy that when he gets into the boat, water rises up, right? Like he raises the level of that offense. And I think just the energy that he provides when he scores touchdowns the way he does, those are video game touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, he always kind of scores against Seattle, but like he really carved him up in that one. And it was really good to see. And it's one of those, now you're about to see the power of this, the potential of this unleashed Death Star, right? Like that's really what it is at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And this week you're going to have a healthy Brock Purdy, and eventually you're going to see a healthy Deebo Samuel out there, and that's going to keep going. And you're starting to see Ray McLeod get used just a little bit more, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're starting to see Brandon Ayuk get used a little bit differently, a little bit more. And Purdy does a great job of getting these guys the ball where they can catch it and not get killed. That is the biggest thing that I see with Brock Purdy as opposed to every quarterback previous that I have seen during this era. He is not getting his receivers killed. He's not laying them out. They're in positions where it's either they're going to catch the ball and nobody's around them, or they're going to catch the ball and they're going to get out of bounds or fall down, and they're not going to take, a shot to the spleen so far. He's done a really good job of avoiding those hospital balls, which for this team, that is a huge deal, right? Like you can't measure that. You can't teach that, as the kids say.
Yeah. I mean, he also doesn't have the happy feet in the pocket.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just a twist. It's a pivot. Right? Like you'd honestly think he was trying not to travel in a basketball game a lot of the times with the way he moves, right? He's in the post, he's set the pivot foot, and he's just moving around, right? But he's calm, and then when he makes that throw, he gets those feet set, and he gets them set in such a way. It reminds you of those the old Bill Walsh things where you would talk about how pretty Montana's footwork was, right? And he would just gush over it, like, that footwork's just amazing. Same deal,
right?
Like same thing. It's such good footwork. Like it's way different, right? It's not nervous footwork. It's not get out of the way footwork. It's no, I got to get to the spot over here, and then I can make that move, right? So.
Yeah. And he plants his feet. I like that you brought that up, Maddie. He plants his feet when he throws. I forgot who it was, Baldinger. I think it was somebody brought up video of him and broke down his feet work from college all the way through the pros. And Kyle Shanahan schemes players open. I mean, he just schemes. Did you see that one catch to Kittle? I mean, nobody was around him. Everybody was over here, but that's just the threat of McCaffrey, though. That's one thing I love about McCaffrey. Everybody was concerned about McCaffrey. They forgot about Kittle. But as Maddie is saying, I love because he just puts the ball where he needs to go in his playmaker hand. He does, and I love because he doesn't have that strength in his arm. He anticipates the throw. He believes in his receiver. He lets the ball go before the receiver makes his break, because you know the receiver's going to get there. And you got to do that when you don't have that arm. If Josh Allen doesn't have to anticipate anything. He can wait for the receiver to get their turn, and then he'll get in the ball there quickly. With Purdy, he has to anticipate his throws. And that's just a belief and connection with his receivers, and I love it. I love what he's doing. I love that Kyle Shanahan can finally run his playbook with this kid and do the things that he couldn't do with Jimmy.
That was 100% correct. You make a great point. That was the one thing Walsh used to hammer on, right? That's why he wanted Montana and Young to throw that ball over and over again. He wants that ball out 2 feet in front of the receiver so he can catch it and go, catch it and go, catch it and go, catch it and go every single time. If you go back and read Steve Young's book, he talks about, like, he was always a good quarterback. He could throw it to the receiver. But when Mike Shanahan taught him to trust the offense and just throw it to the spot, like Joe Montana did, which was the difference, right? Which is what Mike Holmgren was continually telling Steve Young to do, and he couldn't quite grasp it. But Mike Shanahan broke it down for him, like, look, Yes, you're under pressure, but if you just throw it to that spot, Jared's going to be there.
Yep, trust your receivers.
Sure enough,
yeah.
Jared's going to be there, right? Brock Purdy's already doing that, right?
Yes.
We're in game 3 of the Brock Purdy era. He's already doing that. He's doing that when he's probably playing at 60% the other night. It's craziness.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We forget about that. Yeah, you're right. With that oblique injury, I mean, if you ever played football and you had that, it's hard to throw. It's hard. That's a muscle. It's hard to move. And for him not to throw all week and just warm up in the warm-ups and then go out there and do that type of performance, not only is he good, but he has guts. That's why the team respects him. He's such a young man, but he has so dominant of the trust of the team because he's a fighter. He goes in there and fights. So yeah, I love everything about him. We'll see what happens. This will be, honestly, in my opinion, tell me if you guys agree or disagree, but I think this will be the strongest defense that he has faced so far in this front of the Commander. So we're going to learn a lot about this kid against this defense.
I would think so, but I also thought the Giants left some plays on the field. Go ahead, Amin.
Now, you guys mentioned, right, Shanahan does scheme his receivers open. And the thing about Purdy is that he's able to get the ball to his playmakers. And one thing that you've seen with Purdy is that Purdy's been able to execute the offense so well. Whereas even if you look at Jimmy Garoppolo at times, right, the difference, I would say, noticeable difference between Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo is Purdy's willing to throw that deep ball. Purdy's willing to, throw it in tight coverages. Where you look at Jimmy, if the pocket is collapsing or, he'll try to hit his check down. Purdy's like, nah. That pass to Brandon Ayuk in the end zone and near the end of the second half against Tampa Bay. Like, Purdy's not afraid to, put the ball in tight windows. Purdy's not afraid to take that deep shot. So Purdy's definitely executing this offense at a high level. And just how we were sitting here talking about Jimmy Garoppolo a couple of weeks ago, pre-injuries, that just, Jimmy, don't make mistakes. The same thing goes with Purdy, and he hasn't been making mistakes, and he's been able to execute this offense at such a high level, getting the ball to his playmakers, making smart decisions, and getting the ball to, the George Kittle wide open in that Seattle game, just doing what he's supposed to do, making smart decisions, playing smart complementary football. That's what Purdy's been able to do, and that's all Purdy really realistically has to do with such a good defense. I mean, just Purdy, don't make mistakes, do what you're doing, play at a high level, get the ball to your playmakers, and for the most part, he's been able to do that.
I think even with him making a mistake, like the interception that was called back, he came out the very next play, and pretty much, just threw it, and it was a great play. And, so I think he has that ability that, if he messed up, he goes out there and he corrects it, right on the spot.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
Yeah.
And that particular play where he almost threw the interception, this is the trust that Kyle has in Purdy more than he did in Jimmy. I guarantee Jimmy almost threw that interception. They're going back to the run game. They're going to run. They're going to run the ball. They're not going to allow Jimmy to throw. The fact that they allow Purdy to get back and start throwing is the confidence that Kyle has in this kid. And Amin said, that throw on the outside post to McCaffrey, you wouldn't see that Jimmy do that. Jimmy always loves his checkdowns. Even if he knows the players are open, he loves his checkdowns. Let's get the yards. So let's move the ball that way. Sometimes it's nice just to throw it up in the air, man, and get a touchdown real quick and get off the field, man. So I love what Brock is doing. I love his confidence. Maybe it's because he hasn't got hurt like Jimmy. I don't know. I'm not making excuses for Jimmy, but I love his confidence, and let's continue to build confidence in him by winning games.
Beto, do you really think he sees the open guy, though? Jimmy's missed so many open receivers. I don't think he reads the field as well as Purdy does. Purdy seems to have a great vision of the field and really, really can see what's happening and what's transpiring. And he's got a great quick release that, he can laser something into someone, at times in a very precise way that Jimmy never could. Jimmy would be throwing pick balls and chucking it out there, and he's getting picked off, or it's, incomplete, or as Matt pointed out, he's throwing hospital balls to guys, and we made big play, but, meanwhile, you're laying the guy up there to catch this ball, and had it been right there in front of him, he could have easily walked into the end zone. Instead, he's getting, knocked to the ground, and we're short. Now we're in, third and goal situations all the time, trying to get the ball in. I see Brock Purdy making these very precise throws that are just a pleasure to watch. We haven't seen that in a while in Niner football. So we're making some of these like super great plays, and they're translating it into great points and big yard plays. And the guys are getting open and making some big yak moves. And I don't know, it's just been fun watching him play the last few weeks. Really, really a whole different dynamic. Like the offense really is showing exactly what Kyle can scheme up and do.
Yeah, it's definitely just even like the whole entire offense, just, the way they're gelling and the way, that it's really been fun to watch. And you don't like, when Purdy drops back to throw the ball, like I know me, like I would kind of cringe a little bit when Jimmy would, step back and throw the ball. I mean, you would hope that it wouldn't get intercepted. And, Purdy, I'm kind of like, all right, this is good. He's going to complete the pass. But Terrence says, funny thing is that the Seahawks have one of the worst run defenses, and Shanahan trusted Purdy instead of attempting to gash the Seahawks.
That's a good point. And to Beck's point of Jimmy, I think Jimmy, because he's been hurt and been hit so much, he kind of takes his eyes off the receivers a bit when he sees pressure coming at him because he wants to anticipate that hit. And that's just enough to miss his timing or throw a pick. And I think Purdy is playing with poise. He's like, I'm keeping my eye on the receiver enough on the field. He knows the hit's coming, but he doesn't care. It's going to come anyway. And he's keeping his eye on the field. I think with Jimmy, he slightly looks away and wants to anticipate that hit, where it's coming from. And that's just enough to throw him off and have those incompletions or overthrows that he does. Jimmy just plays scared. He's playing scared, and Brock doesn't. Brock, again, it could be the injury that he received, but he does play scared because in 2017 or whenever Jimmy first came to us, I don't remember the year, but
2017.
2017.
Yeah, he did. If you notice, he didn't play scared. He was more throwing the ball, swinging the ball, being more relaxed. That one injury against Kansas City kind of set him back a little mentally, and it does take a mental toll. But so let's just pray that Purdy stays pretty healthy, and we keep rolling with him. But I like just the fact that they trust him. They trust him, like to just point. The run defense for or the person that made the comment, sorry, Terrence, I believe it was.
Yeah, Terrence.
Thank you. Yeah, that they have the worst run defense, and yet we chose to throw with Purdy. That's how much confidence they have in the kid.
Well, let's say this though.
We ran.
It wasn't all throw.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
26 times.
I don't really want Christian McCaffrey running it 26 times.
No.
And I mean, he was targeted 8 times. That's 32 touches, man. Like, and George Kittle gets targeted 5 times, and Juwan Chang gets targeted 5 times. Like, Ayuk is targeted 4. Like, there's a little bit more room there, right? Like, Jordan Mason only gets 4 carries.
He's a
we need to see more Jordan Mason.
I need more Jordan Mason in the second half, right? I need some more Jordan Mason in the second quarter, right?
Thank you.
Like, let's
you think they're saving us for the playoffs?
Alternate. I really appreciate the Christian McCaffrey deal. Like, I really do. But, like, I don't want to see him get run into the ground, man. You've got a healthy guy there in Jordan Mason that can take some hard carries, and he can bust them. Let him get some longer runs so he can finish those things off for touchdowns, right? So he's not getting gassed and bounced out at the 2. But, like, yeah, I don't want to see Christian McCaffrey getting 26 carries a game. I don't want to see that again. I think that was a necessity deal because short week and break glass in case of emergency. Christian McCaffrey, I'm kind of hoping this week he's, probably a 15, 20 touches sort of game, right? 15, 22. Let's spread it around a little bit more. There are talented guys in this roster that can touch the ball and take a little bit of pressure off of him.
I do think that they will this week, especially against Washington's defense. I think we will diversify the run game a little bit more and not be all McCaffrey. But I think they kept him in last week till he got over 100 yards, and then that's when they pulled him and started running Mason. They let him, stack up his stats and make sure he had what he needed there.
Yeah, I don't even think it was that. I think they just brought him in to try to close out the game, but that's the only time he came in.
Oh no, I
came
meant
in for-
McCaffrey. They didn't pull him out until he had 102 or whatever yards.
Yeah,
And
but I
after
don't think
that,
it was a.
left.
I don't think it was a stat thing. I think it was just at the end of the game, and they were like, "Okay, just pound the rock." And even when they did it, I mentioned it to Jess, like they're using him wrong. They got Mason lined up in the pistol and the ball instead of power running him. What up, Mariah? You know, it wasn't until that last run where they put him in the eye and just let him come downhill, and you saw what he did. He broke that thing.
Yeah, that was great.
So
no, you don't want nobody to get hurt.
Right.
But if it ain't broken, why fix it? I mean, if you don't want to, I know you don't want to run him as much because he can get hurt and run into the ground. But if he's running and he's in there and he's telling the coach, "I'm good," and it's working, I'm for it. I don't know, I'm for it. I understand that injuries happen, but they happen. I mean, Jordan Mason would have 4 carries. He could have got hurt in one of those carries. It's just if it ain't broken, why fix it? I love that they ran them. They were able to run them, and against that really bad defense anyway. Now I want him to be running 26 times against the Commanders' defense. That's and then you're really asking for it. But the Seahawks defense, they're soft. You know what I mean? I mean, you still can get injured, but they're more soft. Hopefully, they run them less against the Commanders. 15 to maybe 18 touches should be good enough.
And I think that's what we all just want to see, is to kind of spell him some so that he's as fresh and as healthy as he can be for the playoffs, when we can really lean on him and be like, all right, CMC, this is what we need you to be, all pro. And let's chase this ring. You know, we're going to lean on you more than we have all season. And that's all we want to see right now, you know? So give Jordan Mason 15 carries a game to spell him some. Because if we have a fresher, CMC for the playoffs, we're in good hands.
Is it his pass protection on Jordan that keeps him off the field? Because his pass protection is not that good.
That's true. But if we know we're running power up the A gap.
Yeah, that's true too.
Throw the big bull out there.
And they knew we were running to close the game, and he still cut a 55-yarder?
Yep. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, Melissa.
What's going on, Melissa? All right, so we've mentioned Kyle Shanahan quite a few times.
Fire Kyle.
We're not firing Kyle this week.
Where are those?
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, where'd they go?
I keep looking. I can't find him.
File Kyle.
I don't hear them.
Yeah.
Where are they at? It's crazy.
They're probably passed out.
All right, so game balls. Go ahead, Ty.
Oh my gosh. Game balls. Mooney Ward for completely erasing DK Metcalf. Oh wait, before that, I got to give a game ball to DK Metcalf himself. For one, chirping that Mooney Ward, wrong move, and then trying to do a cheap shoulder bump on Dre Greenlaw of all people. And then Dre was like, okay, that's the way you want to play? Bring it. Next thing you know, a few plays later, fumble, scoop, almost score. Mess with Dre if you want to. So thank you, DK. Thank you, buddy.
Don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear, right?
Exactly.
I don't think we've ever given a game ball to an opposing team player, but
he gets one.
First time.
He gets one.
It's the first time for everything.
One of the hottest defenders in the league. Yeah, smart move.
Yeah.
So he gets one. Well, I'm gonna get one too on offense. I don't know. I gotta give one to the offensive line. I think they all played well. Seattle had basically no pass rush all night, so gotta give one to them. And I gotta give one to Kyle Shanahan. For dialing up the plays. And as Maddie mentioned, digging in archives, fake double screen, watch check middle. I mean, anytime you could go back and grab something from the Walsh playbook, you get a game ball in my book. So yeah.
Amin?
I'm gonna give one to Jordan Mason. I like that run at the end of the game. I wish he got utilized more. And from what I've seen with Jordan Mason, not only in the Seattle game, I know we're talking about the Seattle game, but Jordan Mason has made the most of his opportunities that he got. The limited opportunities that Jordan Mason has received, he's made the most of those opportunities. And I love that CMC is getting involved in the game, obviously scoring touchdowns, having 100 yards plus. The last couple of games, but get Jordan Mason more involved, please. Get him a couple of more carries because Jordan Mason has been really good in the couple limited carries that he's gotten. He's had some nice runs. He's had that big run in Seattle. He had that one game against the Saints where he stiff armed a dude. Like Jordan Mason has had some nice runs. He just needs more opportunities, and I just hope Shanahan, like, if you're up by that much in the third quarter, like, put Jordan Mason in. Give Jordan Mason some carries. Let him get a couple more carries each game. Instead of giving him, 5, give him, 6 or 7 up to 10 carries. Get Jordan Mason more involved. And that big run by Jordan Mason, even though it was small, it iced the game. So I'm giving a game ball to Jordan Mason. On defensively, I'm giving a game ball to Nick Bosa. I mean, Nick Bosa is just phenomenal. I mean, the Seahawks left tackle, Charles Cross, first-round pick. I mean, Nick Bosa was wreaking havoc on him. He should have had more than one sack in that game. There was one time where they called, I think, defensive. Well, I forgot what the penalty is called. Oh, I'm blanking right now.
Roughing the passer call.
Roughing the passer call. That roughing the passer
that
call.
That erased our pick 6.
That was a stupid call. That was a stupid call. But Nick
that
Bosa,
was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous. But Nick Bosa was wreaking havoc all night. So Nick Bosa, I mean, should win Defensive Player of the Year. If he doesn't, I mean, the NFL voting is just rigged. But Nick Bosa, I mean, he was wreaking havoc. On Monday. So. Or on Thursday. Nick Bosa is wreaking havoc on Thursday. So Nick Bosa definitely deserves a game ball. And then one more guy offensively is Kittle. I mean, early on in the season, people were like, why isn't Kittle getting involved? What's up with George Kittle? We're like, George Kittle, some people are saying George Kittle isn't a top tight end anymore. He's past his prime, whatever it might be. But you saw, like, yes, George Kittle is still a beast. He's still a huge part of this 49ers team, not only off the field, but on the field as well. He just hasn't been utilized as much the last couple of games early on in the season, in the passing game. But George Kittle, I mean, with Brock Purdy, I mean, you've definitely seen, a lot more George Kittle at red zone, end zone calls, and him scoring touchdowns and him doing his thing like he was, pre-contract George Kittle, like he was before, he got hurt the last couple of years before he's been dealing with injuries. But George Kittle had another phenomenal game, and credit to George Kittle and credit to this Niners team as a whole.
Terrence says that roughing the passer call was complete dog water.
Dog water.
Credit to Bosa on not overreacting when asked in the post-game press conference.
Yep.
Well, he got one back, so he got his justice.
Anything.
I don't think he'll ever react. Yeah.
What's even more impressive is that Bosa gets held so much. Like, you can watch Niners games and Bosa will literally be getting held like this by opposing offensive linemen, and Bosa will
arms
still
around the neck and everything.
Yeah, Bosa will still be able to wreak havoc in games. Imagine if the ref called all of those calls, or actually threw the flag. I mean, Bosa would still dominating. I mean, if the offensive lineman just didn't hold and the refs would actually call it, I mean, unfortunate, but Bosa still dominates. I mean, Bosa still wreaks havoc.
Go ahead, Beto.
Well, my game ball, I'm going to give it to 3 defensive. I'm a big defensive guy. I love the offense, but defense wins championships in my mind. D'Amico Ryans deserves a game ball for what he's been doing in this game, the game plan that he called, and what he's been doing all year. And the 2 players is going to be Greenlaw. What he's doing, the fact that he didn't make the Pro Bowl is disappointing. This kid has been playing on fire. And Lenore, Demo. Listen, we've been talking about Charvarius Ward covering DK, shut him down. Tyler Lockett is no joke. Tyler Lockett is a good receiver, and we didn't hear his name that much either. And that was Lenore all over him. And he had that pick 6 that should not have been called back. And you're right. That is such a ticky-tack call by the referee. I mean, Bosa does everything he's supposed to do and how to sack a quarterback, not to fall on, not to roll on him. And he did everything. And this is not me defending Bosa as a Niner fan. This is me defending Bosa as a defensive end and others that don't get the right call. I mean, what is this football game is coming to? I mean, if you look at the quarterback the wrong way, it's a flag. Let the defenders play. I understand you're trying to protect the quarterback because that's what brings in revenue in the NFL, but still, don't get too calamity with how much money the NFL makes and allow these defenders to get flagged like that. That should have been a pick six. So my game balls goes to Lenore, goes to Greenlaw and D'Amico Ryans for this game against the Seahawks.
Cool. My game balls for the offense. I know you'll be shocked by this, but my game ball goes to George Kittle.
No.
What?
George Kittle. Whoa.
Totally shocked.
Where'd that come from?
right?
That's not a left
Who's
field.
that?
Yes.
Crazy. But yeah, you know, I say all the time-
tight end George Kittle?
Yes.
That one? Oh, okay.
Look at George Kittle's behind you, just smiling ear to ear.
Yeah, right. I just think I always say that, you know, good things happen when George Kittle gets involved. And I think that game was just, you know, the start of him getting involved more and more. And, you know, everything's coming to fruition at the right time. And yes, I am speaking this into existence. You know, everybody knock on wood that, you know, it continues. But yeah, it's George Kittle for the offense. And then for defense, I'm going to go with big play Dre. He's been playing lights out. And I just, you know, I love his intensity and just the way he sees the field. But yeah, those are my game balls. Maddie, what about you? You're muted.
You're muted.
Keep talking. I'll keep talking and no one will hear me. And it'll be great. How about Jimmy Ward? Put him in a position that really is not designed to excel in, right? He's in that position due to emergency and is getting a little better every week, right? So shout out to Jimmy Ward, dude. That's my guy. Like, he's making the best of a not so great situation and doing what he can with it, right? Which is really all you can ask for in this scenario.
That's it.
That's it. I can only give up one, man. That's it. That's all I got.
He's old school. One game ball.
Everybody was shocked. They're like, "That's it."
I'm just waiting for
if
like
I
something
had my
else.
choice, we just
I'm sitting here nodding my head. I'm sitting here nodding my head, and you only give me one, and I was like,
Well,
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, I'm like Ty. I have game balls for everybody.
Yeah, you definitely threw me off with that, Maddie.
I've been doing that. You guys just noticed. It's impressive. It was
Like,
good.
only one game ball. Only one.
Only one. Everybody, like, you know, you
The
can't
free
just give
game
out
balls, by the
57,
way.
right? Like, this isn't like kids' ice cream certificates at Little League. Like, we've got to like really be a little less judicious with this stuff, right? Like, I don't mind throwing flowers out there, but come on.
Speaking of flowers, okay, mark your calendars as well. I am going to give flowers to Mike McGlinchey this week.
Mike had a good game.
He did.
Hmm.
I'm going to give him
for me to
flowers.
leave.
What's that?
It's time for me to leave. If you're going to talk highly about me, I'm gone.
Just
Let
for
me know
this
when
week.
I'll come back.
just for this week, I just want to give him flowers. But go ahead, Becca.
Oh no, we're good. I'm gonna give the game ball to Brock Purdy, coming in, playing hurt and being questionable. And I just thought he played, you know, such a great game, even under, you know, all the pressure of playing in Seattle, not being, you know, fully healthy. I thought he played really well. And in addition to that, Trent Williams gets one too, because he made so many plays to open up holes and to really, you know, keep anybody. No one got to Brock Purdy, right? He was very, very few times he was under pressure. So those are my offensive balls. And then on the defensive side, Mooney Ward and Dre Greenlaw definitely get game balls. It was fun watching him tie up DK Metcalf. We already mentioned that before, but I just love what Dre Greenlaw's been doing. He's been playing so well these past, I don't know how many weeks now, like most of the season at this point. But yeah, those are my game balls.
All right.
First time in my 2 years of doing Niner content creation where someone has said, "Let me give my props and flowers to Mike McGlinchey." First time ever. Ever I've ever heard someone say.
I know. I'm
My
shocked,
God.
right? I mean,
I know. I'm
Right.
shocked. Usually people are out here. They're like, when I hear Mike McGlinchey, instantly I'm like, I already know what they're gonna say. Mike McGlinchey's this. Mike McGlinchey sucks.
Uh-huh.
You know. Then
Here we
Flowers
go.
and McClinchy don't go to line to line. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like, flowers to Mike McGlinchey. Whoa.
Usually he's Mike McGrinchy, right?
Yeah.
This time of year, right?
I mean, I saw the shock on your face. Let's see.
And what's funny, with all that said, he's still the top 17 tackle in the league.
Yeah.
Yep.
McGlinchey finally had a good game. I keep thinking of that play when he was napping at the snap, then blocked a mosquito. I couldn't see.
That play's gonna go down.
Nobody's gonna let him down. He's all.
Yep.
Yeah. Defender goes right by
Ready
him.
too. Bring it. There's no one there.
That was his best tackle too.
Oh man.
All right, so I hope he enjoyed his flowers for at least 2 minutes before we started back on that play.
Yep.
But,
And flowers. And flowers.
but I'm thinking, how about a jersey giveaway right now? What do you think, Ty?
Let's do it.
All right. So should we have
do it.
everybody pick a number?
Everybody pick a random number.
Between
what and what?
Between what? Wait, hold on. Let me see what I have it set to. Sheesh. Because we did make some changes.
Hey, I'm like
You're
in the guest
eliminating
plate.
the number
In the guest
3,
plate.
right?
Yeah, there's no number 1 through 6.
Sorry, Brian.
There we go.
Uh-oh.
Itchy 95, 13.
Terrence got my number.
No, wait, hold on. I didn't even say the rules. The number between 10 and 40.
10 and 40. Bryant, you got to pick again.
He put that 3 up there quick, didn't he?
He did. It's his number.
Merry Christmas, Melissa.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
All right, we done. We done.
What's
38
the what's the
Nice
limit?
to be up.
What's the spread on the numbers, Ty?
Between 10 and 40.
Brian, 10 and 40.
97 is way off.
Really high, Brian.
Wait a minute.
Now
I
he's
think
just
he's
protesting.
Yes.
Oh, he went with Roger
Between 3
Craig.
from 0 and 3 from 100.
Yeah. He must be the McClinchy of the chat. I'm messing with you, Brian. You know I love you, man.
Jimmy Garoppolo and
Nice.
Mike McGlinchey just constantly catching strays, man. Just for the end of time. Unbelievable.
I am for this episode. I'm just gonna, for this show, I'm just gonna, stay with my flowers to Mike McGlinchey.
Watch this next week. McGlinchey just gets blow right. So the
No,
defender goes
that's
right
probably-
It's
by
the
Yeah.
Christmas
Everyone's
season, baby.
gonna go just on a loop.
And everybody's gonna come back to this. Be like, you gave flowers to Mike McGlinchey. You're the only content creator that gave flowers to Mike McGlinchey, and see what happens the next week.
I don't know if I got invited, but I put my number in there anyway.
Yeah. You guys are invited.
That's the Mexican in me. I'm sorry.
Brian, how many numbers you picking now?
He's got 24. He's good.
Oh, okay. Because before I thought
Because he went with 33 before.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He went from Roger Craig to
Well, I thought he put 33 as a joke, because it was, it's in the.
Yeah.
Oh,
three-
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, double threes, and yeah.
All right, everybody got their numbers in?
I think we're all in.
Everybody
I think so. All right, go ahead,
All
Ty.
right. Can you see my screen? All right. I got the brightness correct this week. You can actually see it. All right. Hit randomize.
This is for the jersey.
29.
29.
29.
So
Do we have it?
Amin.
Mariah
Adri.
picked 29 on the nose.
Really?
Mariah picked 29.
Yeah, she did.
Wow, yes.
Oh, awesome. Oh, David-
Mariah, awesome.
There we go.
Mariah is our winner.
Okay.
Um,
She does so many giveaways that she deserves a giveaway. So
Hell
like,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, congratulations.
Way to go,
It's
Mariah.
you pick any player, red or white jersey. You could DM me later. Awesome. Cool.
I
right.
figured that out,
Well
Brian,
done.
finally.
Congrats.
Sorry.
Awesome.
Well deserved,
Yes,
Mariah.
congratulations.
Well done.
Congratulations. And Amin was right in there too with
I was one off,
28.
but hey, I would have rather her win it than I do, man. She does so many giveaways. Like, I'm happy for her.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
Mariah,
don't
if you have
forget
some lotto numbers you
to.
want to send me, I'll appreciate
Yeah,
it.
right.
Yeah, me too. Let me take a note.
I act
If you don't
first.
want to miss shows like tonight's, make sure you like and subscribe. Even turn those notifications on for us, the East Coast Red and Gold on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And of course, as you know, for the last 8 years, IE Sports Radio has bringing you amazing content, legendary athlete interviews, tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, it's continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and with your help, ready to take the next step. When you go to the website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see the Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one starts at just $5 a month. This donation gets you shout-outs on all the shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to Podcasting University, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of the flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. And again, that is iesportsradio.com.
All
Wow,
right.
that sounded good, Maddie.
On a side note,
love it.
do we have any SF Giants fans here?
Uh-oh.
No.
No.
It doesn't seem like it's been a good week.
Outside this door, maybe.
I think Amin wants to poke the bear a little bit.
Like, it just seems like a wild time.
He's ready to
I don't
make
I'm
know.
saying it's rough being a Giants fan. Okay, I actually woke up at 3:00 this morning.
I'm an
I
Ace
woke
fan,
up-
bro. You're talking about being rough?
I
Please.
woke up
Yeah,
at 3
exactly.
a.m. this
I
morning.
grew up
I
an
was
Expos
thirsty.
fan, kid. I
Please.
got nothing for you, man. My team's gone. They killed my team.
All
They
my team
stabbed it
does is
right in the
develop
heart.
players and send them out to other
Why do
teams.
you? Okay, that's the thing. I don't understand. I don't understand being an Oakland A's fan because your team doesn't like to contend.
We're
Like they
former.
just
We
don't.
just develop and send them out.
I know exactly. That's the thing. I
They were
don't
so great
understand
in the
A's fans.
70s.
Listen,
They
I've
did
got
the same
2
thing
words
in
for you
the
guys.
70s too.
Aaron
Yeah.
Judge. Woo, he's back.
And I got 2 more words. Go Yankees.
See, I'm a Giants fan here. Look at
Yankees.
the look at the
Mute
incentive.
their
You know,
mics.
like what about empathy towards this, young poor Giants fan?
You've
that
won
had
World
Arson
Series in like
Judge-
the last decade, so I
You
got
brought
nothing.
it up.
I got
and
no
Carlos
nothing.
Correa?
I mean,
like,
you brought this up. I mean,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, you brought
That
this
is-
up.
That is true.
Like
That
you're
is
like,
true.
so no Giants fans in here. Oh well, I'm sad. I'm a Giants fan. That's really good. That's impressive. I like that. That was a good spin. That was a good spin. Look, you're not going to regret that contract. You're not going to regret it. You're talking about a lifetime 280 hitter. You don't spend that guy. You don't spend over $350 million on that guy. Come on.
First
Come
big
on.
free agent we had. That might be true. It might end up,
Look,
the first big free agent we had.
this was a bad idea from the start.
Good for
I've
them.
lived through entirely too many of these mega deals. None of them end good.
Yep.
They really don't. Ever.
Derek
Football, basketball. Even the
Yeah,
Jeter
they're
one didn't really go
Jeters.
great because towards the end, they were like, you can't be paying shortstop anymore. It's like the longer they stick around, like the less excited we are for them, right? Like you don't see that a lot in pro football because guys don't stay that long, right? Like you don't have these Tom Brady-esque folks out there, right? They're usually playing, like Patrick Willis, or like we were mad that he didn't play longer, right? But he actually had a fairly longish career as opposed to like the average, right? Like, at the end of the day, that's the stuff that you worry about and you think about. And with a lot of these teams, you don't get that. You don't get sick of these guys because they're constantly moving on, right? Don't get those big mega deals. I don't think Kansas City is gonna, I don't think it's all gonna, and I don't think it's gonna end poorly with Patrick Mahomes by any means. Like, unless it ends so
Hey,
poorly.
you never know.
It could. It could. You never know. But
All right,
would it be
so-
worth it for what they got out of it? Who knows, right?
True.
That's what we have to ask about every deal. The Trey Lance deal, any of it, right?
Yeah.
Very true. All right, so I have a trivia question. Is everyone ready for some trivia?
Yeah.
All right. On December 19th, 1993, the 49ers clinched the NFC West for the 10th time in 13 years by blasting the Lions. Sorry, Patty, my cousin is a Lions fan. 55-17. Who caught a 68-yard touchdown pass 5 minutes and 2 seconds into the game to set the tone for the rout? A, Jerry Rice, B, T.O., C, John Taylor, or D, Garrison Hurst?
I'm going C, John Taylor.
T.O.
I'm saying T.O.
C, John Taylor.
I'm missing.
I'm going John Taylor.
The correct answer is C, John Taylor.
Good job.
Well done.
Disgustingly, I remember that game.
I know.
I'm old enough to remember that game too, Matt.
There's
Can't
so many
remember what I
games
did
that I
yesterday.
remember, like the 87 game against Minnesota, like, you know, like you just remember watching them live and happening in front of you. And you're like, wow, this really happened. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I stand in awe of the folks and all their reverence of Jim Harbaugh. And I'm just like, who's this guy? He's not even like, he can't even hold George Seifert's clipboard, man.
Nope.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a little time left with our special guests from the West Coast, Amin and Niner Beto. So let's jump to the Christmas Eve game, the Commanders. Beto, what are your offensive keys for this game?
Offensive keys. Run the ball. We definitely have to run the ball on this team. Run the ball and set up the. I don't know if I want to set up the play action, but run the ball. Just limit your mistakes. You know, don't turn the ball over offensively against this pass rush. But one of the main keys is to get the ball out of Purdy's hand quickly as possible, because that pass rush will be coming. And I think Kyle can set up some plays where what we do against the Rams and AD, where we take the pressure off whoever's coming at the quarterback. So get the ball out of Purdy's hands quickly and just run the ball down their throats. It should be keys for me.
Amin?
Yeah, I mean, obviously run the football. That's a huge part. Offensively, you know, get into a rhythm early on. Purdy, continue doing what you're doing, make smart decisions, continue what you've been doing the last couple of weeks. And I mean, offense, just put up, just run the football effectively. Purdy, keep doing your thing, and just put up enough points. I mean, when you have such a good defense, the defense will obviously, for the most part, I think, limit the Commanders' offense as much as they can. But just do enough offensively. Just hopefully just do enough for us to win the game.
Ty?
Yeah, I think it's the same formula. You know, we're a running team, run the ball. You know, pound the rock on them. I think a big key is the offensive line playing well. The last time we played them, the line didn't play well. Now, in that game, you know, as we alluded to with Amin earlier, Garoppolo was hurt. Trent Williams was hurt. We lost the lineman during the game, I believe, and the right tackle didn't play well. So it was a recipe for disaster, right?
Speaking of right tackle, before I came on this show, I saw
You don't want to say
really,
his name?
See, yeah, you know, I'm gonna say his name. Speaking of right tackle, but the thing I saw before I came on the show, that someone put out a tweet that snub Pro Bowl, and they had a picture of Mike McGlinchey, and they said snub Pro Bowl, and it was a picture of Mike McGlinchey getting beat on the edge by a defender, and said snub Pro Bowl, not McCaffrey, not Mooney Ward, but Mike McGlinchey.
Oh, you gotta love the guy. He's kind of the gift that keeps on giving sometimes.
Ain't that the truth?
But yeah, I think just the line playing, you know, better than they did that last game. And I think because, you know, Washington got the best of us that last game, they might be a little overly zealous. They'd be like, oh, we know we can whip them. Well, times have changed. And we can take advantage of their aggression and such this time around. doing things like running the ball, and as Beto said, play the quick game, get the ball out of Purdy's hands quickly, you know. So I think that's just key offensively. Did you ask for defense?
No, not yet.
Okay, there you go.
Maddie, go ahead.
I just need a Jordan Mason game. That's all I need. I need a Jordan Mason game. I want to see him carry the ball about 25 times for 250 yards. That's what I need to see. I just want to see a Jordan Mason game.
No pressure.
I'm talking like
a mere 250.
Whatever, just a mere 250, right? I think about 10 yards a carry. Chase Young's going to be coming back from that ACL injury. I don't expect him to be banging right away. I think he's going to be on a pitch count. They've been treating him super. They've been kid gloving him a lot. Yep. This is probably as healthy as we're going to have been in a little while, this little stretch from Thursday night. You know, you hate that Thursday night turnaround when you're coming off of that Sunday afternoon game against Tampa. Big emotion, torn up quarterback. Might have to start Josh Johnson. Well, now all of a sudden your quarterback's kind of healthy. Everybody's got some rest. Everybody got a nice holiday party on Saturday night. Like, people are in the season. They're in the spirit. They want to bang this out, go home, have some turkey, and then get ready to, you know, have some Cardinal after a trip to Vegas for New Year's, right? Like, the wins just start to stack up. You don't want to lose one, right? There's a chance if they win out and Philly falls off the wagon here, there's a chance, right? There's also a chance at the end of the day that you can take that 2 seed. If you can take that 2 seed and somebody comes in and beats Philly, guess what? You're hosting an NFC title game. You're hosting an NFC title game. I like our chances. At this point, I like our chances if we're going on the road. I like our chances if we're staying at home. I like the chances, period. Right? And this is just a continued step in doing that. And I think Jordan Mason is a huge key to that piece, right? I think you need thunder and you need lightning. So let's get a Jordan Mason ball game in here and send Washington home unhappy. I just Washington usually makes us all unhappy. So
I just pray and hope that this season doesn't end like the past couple of seasons, because the last couple of seasons have just been so heartbreaking as Niners fans. I mean, the Rams lost, the Super Bowl lost. Just this season, there's some magic to it. You know, Purdy's coming in, third string quarterback. He's been looking good. I mean, if you do make it to the NFC Championship game, you do play Philly, or you make it to the Super Bowl, I just hope the Niners can get the job done. It doesn't end in heartbreaking fashion.
Agreed.
And as for Chase Young, he's dealing with patella tendon issues too, on top of the ACL. So he's he's kind of hurting a little bit. Go ahead, Becca.
Washington's going to be trying to play for playoff games, so I don't want to be too dismissive of their effort level. We're in it, so I don't think we can take the foot off the gas. We definitely have to play this game, and we have to play hard. They're going to come in trying to win so they can try to make the playoffs themselves. I think we have to start fast and score some points, but then I think we have to take the time of possession away from Washington. I think they lead the league, or they're close to the top, if not the top, in time of possession with the football. And anytime you give an offense the football all day long, they have an opportunity to score. So I think our defense really will have to try and limit that a little bit, but I think we need to somehow manage to establish a run game, even against their defense, and exert some dominance there and play the clock to our advantage.
Yeah, I think for the past few weeks we've started fast, and I think we need to start fast again. We definitely need to run the ball. Christian McCaffrey, but more JP Mason. And I'd like to see TDP in there as well. Pepper him in there. But yeah, just, run the ball. And, I can't say this enough. Good things happen when George Kittle gets the ball. Get him the ball, please. But moving on to the defensive keys. Maddie, what do you think?
Defensive keys to me are just keep Brian Robinson in this running game from having any sort of good time at all, and keep Mooney Ward on Terry McLaurin, and let Taylor Heineke slowly punch himself out. That's about it. That's how you stop Washington.
Becca?
Yeah, I think the defense really just needs to get after him, after Heineke, and really, they're probably going to need some of those clutch pick sixes and really, some big play making plays to really take control of the game and just exert dominance on the defensive side too. And, just a similar game we had last week where we were firing on all cylinders. We have to play that kind of a lights out game, put them away and take away any opportunity Washington has to dominate time of possession and clock and shut down our run game. None of that nonsense. We have to really, I think, continue to play our football.
Amin, what do you think?
I want to make this short and simple. Defense, do what you've been doing this whole entire season, wreaking havoc on quarterbacks. The defense, the secondary, shutting down opposing receivers. I mean, this defense has been dominating all season, and just do what you've been doing the whole season. I mean, I want to ask you guys a question. Do you think this defense is better than the 2019 defense? I don't know if you guys have discussed this in the past couple of shows, but do you think this defense is better than the 2019 defense?
Yes, but it's not as good as the 1984 defense, which is the best defense this team has ever had.
Ooh, I might argue that.
Who is better than 84's?
Get him, Beto.
Are you
Get him.
Are you basing it on the Super Bowl run?
The 15-1 season that should have been 16-0, correct? Yes, that was a really good team.
Good argument, though. We still have to finish off this season, though. But it's a good argument to make, definitely. But that's a close one. That's the closest one that I will argue was definitely the 84 defense. I don't know. I'm buying. I think this defense can be very special. It's very special.
What Dan Marino do in that Super Bowl?
And that was the number one offense.
We're old, Matt.
Coming in to Stanford and getting Wally Wop 38-2. What was it? 38-16.
16.
16.
Was it 16? I thought it was 13. Did you see
Yeah,
Randy
16.
Cross's tweet about that?
No.
Randy Cross put out the 84 defense. Go ask Marino.
Yeah, Marino might have something to say about that. Correct.
Yes, Randy. Tell him.
How many points did that 84 give?
They only allowed 227 points for that entire season in 1984. I mean, the rules are a little different then, but 84 was right after the year of the quarterback, and that was after that 83 draft. So they're trying to loosen things up a little bit during that time frame.
Yeah.
So 227 points in 16 games is pretty crazy. 19 was
Brian,
really good, but
I think
wasn't good in the fourth
19 was
quarter.
really good.
No.
Yeah, but I think this year's defense is better.
Yes.
Our secondary.
They close. They close.
Yeah,
They're
for the
closers.
first time in a
They
long
drink
time,
coffee,
we actually have a good
right?
secondary.
Coffee is for closers.
Very good
They
point,
drink
Maddie.
the coffee. That is what they are. That is what they do. That is the difference between this team and that 2019 team in the Super Bowl. The question is, are they going to be able to do it in the big games all the way through? Right now, the last few weeks, they absolutely have. And it seems like every game this team plays, doesn't it seem like every game is freaking prime time, Monday Night Football, the game against Tampa, there's been Sunday nighters. Even the Miami game that was shown to a part of the country ended up being the highlight game on Red Zone because nothing else was going on that day. Like the 49ers are just everywhere all the time. And then this Thursday night game with Seattle just happens to pop in at just the right time. And it's probably one of the best Thursday night matchups they've had on the season. So to me, like, I don't think they're going to be fazed by anything. They've seen it all. They've done it already, right? Like, I don't think any of these environments scare them. I mean, this is a team, much of this team went to Green Bay last year and won in the snow a week after going to Dallas and beating the Cowboys. I don't think they give up about where they go or who they play or what they do. And that's what makes this team so unbelievably dangerous to the rest of the league.
I agree. As long as they play their type of football. Do you remember the 1994? They gave up 40 points to the Eagles, 40-8, and they kind of woke up that team up and said, like, we're better than this.
Steve Young tried to challenge George Seifert to a fight on the sidelines.
Yeah, he was mad. Kansas City Chiefs kind of a little bit of a wake up call for this because they haven't lost since.
Yeah, it was a very, very there's a lot of similarities between this year and also '88. If you go back to the '88 season, there were losses to Atlanta in there, a loss to Denver, and those were teams that really weren't, during that year weren't really all that great. And you're like, oh, how the hell did they lose to them? So, lost to Chicago that year as well. Fun fact. So it's
good point.
There's a lot of multiversal stuff going on with this team. There's a lot of sprinkles of '86 in here. In '86, they had 3 quarterbacks, and all 3 of them had a 300-yard game. So, and they made the playoffs.
Well, here's a trivia question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the Kansas City game. We had a lot of guys still out with injury too at that point. We were
It was a transitional game, and I think they didn't. They got McCaffrey that week. It was just a weird. This team was in transition. They got hit, and a couple of turnovers in that game, and that.
Right.
I mean, that was a close game for a little bit. It wasn't like it was 41 to
Jimmy
nothing.
Hail Mary.
The
Jimmy Hail Mary in the red zone. I mean, Jimmy dropped back, threw a Hail Mary. At the 2-3 yard line.
There were some plays that could have been taken back, I think, and done differently.
I love how Matty never disses Mike McGlinchey or Jimmy Garoppolo. He just there's some plays that could have been.
Not a negative guy, man. I used to do this, and all I ever felt like I was doing is just yelling at people, right? I don't want to go and yell at people and tell them how to do their jobs. I'm not going to training camp. I'm not working out with Tom Brady and doing TB12. I'm not doing yoga in my off season. I'm not doing any of that stuff, right? These guys have been committing their life to go do stuff and do other things. Who the hell am I? I'm a fat white guy from Maine, okay? So what I do is I just step back and I'm like, probably could have had that one better, right? I've been watching coaches do it for years. They tell you all they need to tell you without saying anything, right? Sometimes less is more, and I've just tried to take that little bit with that. Unless somebody absolutely deserves to be flamed, I try not to. It's just not my bag. It's because I'm old.
Thank you for setting me up, Matty, by the way. I'm all shaking my head agreeing with everything. And then he got to the white. I'm like, I had to freeze. I'm like, I can't agree with that.
Look at Brian giving flowers.
Ooh, I think they were just an earthquake.
Brian.
I think there was just an earthquake. I don't know if anybody else felt that. I think there was just an earthquake.
What happened to me?
I think there was just an earthquake. My desk started to shake and everything.
Uh-oh.
Oh man! You guys are out on the
you guys are having
damn,
a little
that's
bit
not what
of
we need
action
right now.
Yeah, don't mention
McGlinchey walking up to your house.
That might have been McGlinchey. That might have been McGlinchey.
McGlinchey walking up to your house. You heard you talking about
I was just going to say something about McGlinchey
The
too.
ghost of Mike McGlinchey's.
You want to make sure that you're completely protected going out to the mailbox. That's really what it boiled down to, right? You're good, Amin. You're good. You're going.
I think as far as the defense goes, I think the thing that kind of scares me a little bit is Heineke a little bit. I don't think the Commanders should be slept on, but I don't think the Niners are going to sleep on the Commanders anyway. But to shut down Terry McLaurin, and I think the running backs, Brian Robinson, is that his name?
Yeah. Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, and also bring the pressure. We had quite the Billy Joel episode last week with our songs, but those are my keys for the defense.
I agree with that. Just shut down. Unlike us, they use both their backs. So and I know they want to run the ball, control the clock, shut them down, and the passing game doesn't really bother me. I think we can get to Heineke and not rattle him, because he doesn't get really rattled, but he gets a gunslinger mentality. And I think we can force him into mistakes with that mentality.
He's not accurate either, so that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great recipe.
the only thing that concerns me a little bit is McLaurin and Dotson in the slot. And Jimmy Ward is great 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. He's an all-pro. Once you get him out in space, It's a little different. So that kind of worries me because they do like to push the ball downfield with those guys.
I think that's why the pressure is important.
No, he's too worried about the referee being offsides.
Yeah, I mean, and they'll tell him that he's not offsides, and then surprise, you are, right? Hey, just kidding, you're not lined up close enough. But honestly, at this point now, Ward, what Ward does is he shuts off whichever one of those guys you want to shut off, right? This is like the '94 team when you're like, okay, do I want to shut down Alvin Harper? Do I want to shut down Michael Irvin in the NFC title game? Which one do I want to do? And they ended up putting Deion Sanders primarily on Alvin Harper for a while to get to shake things up a little bit. Because Harper was the one that was killing the 49ers.
He was the deep threat
back in those days. He
A
killed them
fake
in both games, man. Like
He was a deep threat, and we didn't have the speed to deal with him. So
that game in '92
over there and rolled coverage over to Michael Irvin.
And then when they started to come back, that's when those two had their thing, and offensive and defensive pass interference. You could wrestle each other back then. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
But that was really what it boiled down to. Ward right now is one of the first corners that since then who's completely locked down. They've had good corners, but to me, having a lockdown guy like that, he has been the lockdown corner. He is doing that, and he showed it the other night. He completely took Metcalf out of everything, and he's been doing that since that Kansas City game. Just taking the other guy off the field, taking the guy out of things. And when you're able to do that, then you can kind of make up for that stuff. So if Jimmy Ward does need help out in space, you've got guys who can help. And Diamador to Lenore is also slowly getting up to where you need him to be. Is he at Ward's level yet? No, but boy, you could do worse as a second starting cornerback in the league.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
All right, so I think I'm going to do the Playmaker chain giveaway. What do you guys think?
Let's do it.
And it's for this chain, as I mentioned earlier, made by Mike of Ready Customs on Instagram, does awesome work, has made a few things for me already. So same numbers, 10 to 40?
40.
All right, pick your numbers 10 to 40, between 10 and 40. And I know Beto wants to do a giveaway, a patch giveaway too. So we'll get to that in a little bit. There you go.
So Matt, while everyone's picking numbers, was 94 the year that Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin did that whole like ESPN interview where they talked so much garbage about how they were going to throttle the Niners? And we ended up, winning and silencing them and going on to the.
I love watching Stephen A. Smith, and Michael Irvin on First Take, especially after a Cowboys loss or like them, them getting upset by like the Jaguars. Like first thing Monday morning, I'm there. I'm ready to watch Stephen A. Smith pull up with the Cowboys hat, the cigar.
Guys, I'm going to tell you right now.
How about them Cowboys? Everything. I love it.
I get up every morning and I pray for not much. Okay. I'm not a praying guy, but every morning I get up and I look at the sky and I'm like, can you please give me Cowboys 49ers NFC title game in a few weeks at Levi's? Because there's probably no other way it happens based on the seedings right now. And it would just be glorious. And with the way everything sets up currently, if Dallas beats Philadelphia, which frankly is not out of the realm of possibility, I can see it happening. Wouldn't that just be the greatest? Like, don't we deserve that? Don't we as football fans deserve
a win?
San Francisco, Dallas NFC title game? Yes, and of course, a win goes without saying because
pray for a win. Please do include a win against the.
While I get the mental stick dirt.
I cannot imagine Mike McCarthy out coaching Kyle Shanahan in that game. I don't see that.
No, absolutely
not.
One
thing. That's just one thing. I don't see him out coaching. I don't see Dan Quinn out coaching him either. Right? Like,
nope.
No.
I feel like if anybody's going to know how to beat that defense, it's probably going to be Kyle Shanahan. So I think maybe he's going to have a few ideas on that. So I feel fine about that. I think it'd be great. I think that would be I would love
That
to
would
see
be-
that rivalry continue. It's a long one too. It's been going on a long time.
Yeah, we can have Dak give the ball back to his center instead of the referee.
Yeah.
So what is like, you moron? Here, put it wherever you want. And then they get in the way of the referee to get through.
Exactly. Don't
The
even let the
QB,
ref
the
through.
QB run.
Loved
What the
it.
QB run? I think it was a QB run or a QB draw in that situation. I think it was. I
Yeah.
don't remember. Yeah, like
It was
Yeah.
a QB.
what are
run,
you
yeah.
doing? Like, what is the OC doing? What is Kellen Moore doing in that situation?
And they're at home, guys. They're
Yeah.
at home. Like, it's not like the crowd was being hot. Well, I mean, their crowd was not being hostile to them, but it was like it was a fairly evenish split. Like, there was a lot
The
of red
pictures
in the
that were
stands
taken
that day.
of their fans after the game was just priceless.
Just
man.
I remember Stephen A.
That's
Smith
great.
that day. He was making he made a list of
He made a
Cowboys fans.
montage.
He did a montage of those Cowboys fans. One play that was even more questionable than that. That obviously it was a Super Bowl. Everybody knows it's iconic. Seattle versus Patriots. Like, what was the offensive coordinator saying at the goal line on that specific play when Russell Wilson threw the interception? Like, I saw a video, someone put out a video a couple of days ago about how, like, he was joking around. He's like, hand the ball off to Marshawn. We won the Super Bowl. He's like, can you imagine if we threw the ball
Yeah.
near the
Yeah, I
red
saw
zone?
that.
Yeah, you saw that one, right? He's like, oh,
Yeah.
wait, hey, guys, wait, what you guys doing? Like,
Yeah.
come on. Like, a pass when you have beast mode in the backfield?
And the play
Come on,
before
that's
that,
like
he had
shades of
rushed
Frank
6 yards.
Gore. Come on, you're
Yes.
making me twitch over here. Like,
Frank
don't say
Gore
that out
untouched with
loud.
3 blockers around him walking into the end zone while Jim
Right.
Harbaugh's running down the sidelines calling timeout because they might have had to, oh no, we might have lost 5 yards. Yes, I'm sure Colin Kaepernick couldn't have used that extra 5 yards considering he couldn't put any touch on anything because his adrenaline was through the roof, man. Like, that extra 5 yards actually probably would have helped that offense, but, let's call timeout and blow that touchdown off the field. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Go back to college and stay there. Don't ever come back. Who's good at better than us? Yeah.
We do.
God almighty.
Love me some
He is
Kyle
revered
Shanahan.
too. Like, I am legitimately concerned at how
Same.
much he is revered. It is disturbing to me how much
It
he
is.
is revered. Like, I understand that
It
there
is.
was a very dark era of 49ers football for a very long time.
Yeah.
And he happened to be the head coach of that era after all those years.
Mhm.
But my goodness gracious.
It's
like,
amazing, isn't it?
Well, we had this conversation. McLuhan built that team, and
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
yeah, Scott built that team before he got sent packing, and they walked in and took advantage of it. But I mean,
And
that
then
roster was
proceeded to
there.
rip it apart and
Right.
turn it into an absolute abject disaster.
It was
And
an
then,
ACL clinic. I mean, how
With-
many ACL
It
rehab?
was.
Oh, let's use this pick on a guy who needs an
Yeah.
ACL rehab.
We should get more of those. We should
Yep.
redshirt
How's his
everybody every
ACL
year.
doing?
Yeah. Oh, terrible. Great. We'll take that.
Sounds
Third
like our
round.
guy. Sounds like we're only into houses with black mold. That's the only thing we invest in. We don't surface mold. That's just no, and foundation stuff. Black mold. That's what we're into. That's really. I mean, for God's sakes.
Hmm. Yeah, and Brian, they didn't call the hold on Crabtree in the end zone either, which
What you mean?
Yeah, but you know
the
what?
refs
We
were
had-
terrible
we
that
had-
I mean, they
whole
didn't
game.
pass
Had our
3
chances,
times.
I
Don't go
know.
back
We
to it a third
had
time
the-
and expect it.
We had the best offensive line. We have Frank
Mhm.
Gore. Okay.
Best
We-
running game of the world. Run it in the end zone.
Exactly. And we have to throw the fade 4 times.
4 times in a row to try to get it. Yeah.
Which is the worst end zone play, red zone play in the history of ever, anyways.
Yes.
Yet you're going to go to it 4 times.
You could tell we're still bitter about that.
We're not
ridiculous.
We're not. Look, we're going to shake the candlestick dirt again. We got to.
All right,
Yeah,
that's
Maddie,
not the
how-
whole
When I grew up, the
wrong.
49ers just won Super Bowls. They'd go to the Super Bowl, they'd win it, we'd
Right.
party. That's
Maddie,
it.
how,
That's what would
how are
happen.
you doing with the sage on your end? You have sage
I'm
yet?
jealous,
gotta-
Maddie. I'm jealous.
I gotta order some. It's been so
Amin
long.
has yet to
I don't
experience
even
that.
know what it feels like anymore. And I haven't been an adult since it happened. The last time I was a junior in high school. So yeah.
The last Super
Good
Bowl, I
time.
was able to record it on a VCR.
Man.
All right. So I think everybody picked their numbers. So Ty, you want to go ahead and
let's see if this works. I can shake it. Bam, 12.
12.
Look at that.
John Brody.
Let's see.
That was Beto. That was 96.
Beto.
There you go.
Wins the playmaker chain.
I wanted
right,
that chain
awesome.
too, to be honest with you. I seen it. I'm like, oh, the jersey's not going to fit, but the chain will.
Awesome. Well done. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
You.
All right. I forgot what I was going to say.
I do know what a VCR is. Okay, just to set the record straight. I do know what a VCR is.
Okay, put some smoke on that man's name.
Yeah,
you know how to use
know what a VCR is. Okay,
you know what a VCR is.
Do you know what AV cables are?
No.
VV cable? What?
AV cables. They're the
Come on, man.
They're the red, white, and yellow cables that you used to have to use to hook your gaming setup to the TV. Do you have
he
those?
doesn't know what that is.
Okay, all right. And also, there used to be a thing called a converter where you had to put the coax into the
you're
back,
making me feel
and
old,
then
Maddie.
the switch, you'd have to decide if it was going to be on channel 3 or channel 4, and then you would put the TV on channel 3 or channel 4 to play
Amin's like,
Nintendo or Sega or PlayStation or whatever.
Why are you talking about the dinosaur ages? Like,
Yeah.
I'm
The real question is, have you ever shopped at Radio Shack?
Yes, you know what a Radio Shack is.
Have you ever been to Hollywood Video?
I'm too busy reading Brian's comments and pouring salt in the wound about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Mariah, stuff was a lot harder in our days.
So much harder, man. So much.
Matt and I
Wireless.
walked uphill both ways in the snow to school.
Barefoot.
You had to be 4 feet away from your Nintendo to be able to play Tecmo. Like,
come on now.
My uncle has a Tecmo, and I play Tecmo all the time. And my uncle's
Bo Jackson was
Bo Jackson, Lauren Taylor. You're like, you have to stand.
Tecmo Bowl 1, but Tecmo Bowl 1 still does not hold the water to Tecmo Super Bowl. Tecmo Super Bowl was the next game, the absolute best. They had all the teams. You had 8 plays. You could choose 4 running plays and 4 passing plays. That was the absolute best.
Atari.
This question. Can you see the question? That question's for you. I mean,
I know what a rotary dial phone is and a phone booth.
All right, good.
I do watch movies, so I do know what a phone booth is.
There you go.
He's looking through cinema. Correct. Yeah, all right, good. All right. Look,
isn't it time for me to go now?
I mean,
I watch movies.
Amin's gonna be like, I'm never coming on the show again.
Like, why am I getting?
It's not us. It's the guests.
Yes,
the guests are just like, it's unbelievable. Wow.
Oh my God.
I got pain older than my friend Amin.
I had a back injury.
Yeah,
longer than
that.
that.
Pain's been hurting me longer than the
Right, this is true. I agree.
100%. Like,
it's
Amin
all
brings
good
stuff,
fun.
Man. Amin brings the knowledge, which is good.
I'm having fun. I don't think that.
I would hope so. Good.
He's the new generation of 49ers, man.
He's going to carry the torch.
Yep.
He's
Can you imagine Amin?
Yeah, somebody's got to.
50 years from now, he'll be talking about this. He'll be talking about these games that we have now when the games is then, and you're going to believe like you're actually the quarterback for the team.
Yeah, he'll be in the metaverse going, remember when we used StreamYard?
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you ever used StreamYard.
Back then, they'll be like, StreamYard? Oh my God, that's so ancient. Yeah.
You had to go on your laptop and do it? You didn't just pull up a hologram from
15 years from now, Amin will be able to beam this broadcast directly into your head. And like you'll actually choose to get it. Like and subscribe, and you'll wake up in the morning and like you'll have an Iron Man thing in your eye.
Everybody will be in the same room without being in the room.
It'll be right there. That'll be that. Right. And it will be in virtual reality and everything will be good. And like he'll show you the replay. And like you'll be in the play, right? You'll get it from like they'll have some like thing on the helmet, and you'll be like, "Oh wow, this is what Brock Purdy was seeing in his 16th MVP year, right?" Like, yeah. Because as we know, Brock Purdy's taking the torch from Tom Brady, and he's going to be the next guy that plays for like 20 years.
Speaking of holograms, I don't know.
We're signing Tom Brady, and he's going to play for another 20 years.
Oh,
so we're
boy.
trading
I
Brock.
don't think he's going to play for another 20 years. I don't think
I
so.
don't know about
think
that
this
one.
is it.
Are we trading Brock?
No.
Speaking of holograms, I don't know if we have any Star Wars fans in here, but instantly when Tyson hologram, I thought of Obi. He's like, Obi-Wan, you're my last hope, Obi-Wan. That's what I thought of.
Princess Leia. Oh, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're the only one.
It's true.
Oh, boy. All right.
God,
So
we're all old.
yeah, getting back to the game. Who's your offensive player that has to have a big game for the Niners to win on Saturday?
Spencer
Anyone?
Burford.
Ooh.
I like that.
When he plays well,
Maddie
the
going
offensive
offensive
line
line.
is pretty much unstoppable. That's it. Like at the end of the day, the more he plays, the better he gets.
I see the Spencer Burford jersey in the background. I see the Spencer Burford jersey.
Oh no, that's a Fred Dean jersey.
That's Fred Dean.
That's Fred Dean. Hold on. Let me bring that up for you.
Bring it up
Fred
so you can see
Dean.
the Dean. There you go.
You don't even know who Dean is, bro.
Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, Jimmy Garoppolo. There's a Bryant Young thing. I got a bunch more inside, but I haven't hung them all up yet.
Can we
Yeah,
get
that's
Maddie a
Fred
Mike McGlinchey jersey?
No, I have a 69, but it has my last name on the back because I'm a horrible person.
I think he respectfully declines the Mike McGlinchey offer. For
He
this.
could put it right next to Jimmy G's jersey.
Full disclosure, I have a number 69 jersey, but my last name's on the back of it, and that's just because I'm a horrible person. So that's really what it boils down to.
Oh my goodness!
So,
out of all the numbers you could have chose, you picked 69.
I mean, if I'm ever upside down, it'll be the same number, and you'll still know it's me. Like that's I don't.
There you go.
All righty there, Maddie. All righty there.
What if I get knocked in my head? What if somebody I get into a car accident and I'm upside down? Like
It was a kid-friendly show.
It's the same number. Same number.
I don't know. For some reason, I thought a different upside down thing in my mind.
I thought so too. Like, here we go with the porn again.
Same. I was like,
I'm a
young
young
man
graceful
here.
person. I could fall. Like I
mean, earmuffs.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
earmuffs.
We have a
Earmuffs.
I trip a
minor.
lot. Like it's just
Jesus
one of those
Christ.
deals. Like I am not.
All right.
I'm an old man. I could fall. I could break a hip.
But
So,
we're gonna get this show
there we
cut
are.
down to a bunch of all four talking to young kids.
We better get to the 2-minute warning soon.
Woo! All right, Becca, go ahead.
Go, Becca, bring us back. Bring us back.
I was gonna also
Please.
go O-line and say, Trent Williams needs to and make sure Brock Purdy has some time in the pocket and keep him safe and keep the pressure down on Purdy. I think the O-line having a good game against the Washington defense is going to be a big key for us.
Well, leaving out for me, it's going to be Mike McGlinchey. I hate to say this, but we need him to step up because Payne is
April
coming
Fools.
and Monte Sweat is coming. And if Chase Young plays, oh my! They're not going to put. He's not going to line up always on Trent's side. He's going to line up on McGlinchey.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh Lord, please McGlinchey.
Yeah, but when Trent Williams plays well,
upside down, upside up, I don't care. Just play right.
What was that, Becca?
I just said when Trent Williams is playing well, he helps to pick up that slack. He's like the rising boat, right? Like he lifts everyone and elevates their play. Yeah. So
go ahead, Amin.
I would say Christian McCaffrey. I mean, you look at when Deebo Samuel getting hurt last year. Deebo was pretty much this offense a lot of this time near the end of the last season, and obviously Deebo hasn't had that big of an impact this year as he did last year. But now with the absence of Deebo, you've definitely seen the emergence of Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is obviously getting used a lot, and I would say Christian McCaffrey, since we don't have Deebo Samuel, in the absence of Deebo Samuel, I would say Christian McCaffrey is probably the X factor for this game.
What about you, Ty?
Yeah, I was going to go with Mike McGlinchey as well. When we played them in 2020, he was the one healthy guy on the offensive line, and Sweat feasted on him. We couldn't get anything going because of that in the passing game. So I think just if we can keep that right side protected, because Purdy will like to. He's brave. He'll stand in there and take a shot. We don't need him taking shots.
Right.
So just keep him protected and we'll be fine.
I am going to go with Brandon Ayuk.
I knew he was going to say that for some reason.
I think he's been a little quiet, but he's been quiet, but he's been having good games as far, just like blocking and, but I think he has to step up and, have a good game. Not that he's been having bad games, but I just think that he's the player that has to, have a big game. I think all eyes are going to be on, George Kittle and, so for him to get open for Brock Purdy, I'm going to go with Brandon Ayuk. What about defensive player? Go ahead, Ty.
I'm going to go with All-Pro Fred. Just directing the defense and getting in there and making an impact. I think he's a guy that's going to, have to set the tone kind of early. Let people know they're in for a long day.
Amin?
I'll go Charvarius Ward. Obviously, we obviously know Terry McLaurin is an offensive weapon there, but you look at Curtis Samuel on top of that, right? So I would say Charvarius Ward and Diamond Lenoir, both of those guys that are cornerback 1 and cornerback 2 that have to, go up against those two on Saturday, not on Sunday. I was surprised when the game was on Saturday. I don't know why. I just didn't expect it until I checked the schedule. But those two guys, I would say Charvarius Ward and Diamond Lenoir, those two I would say defensive X factors for this game.
Niner Beto.
For me, it's going to be Hufanga and Gibson in the back. Those two safeties.
You know what? I was just thinking of changing mine to the two safeties. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, those two safeties, they're going to have to take care of that outside, because especially like if it gets past Jimmy Ward, like Ty said earlier, they're going to have to step up and keep that middle contained and make sure that those receivers that are explosive don't get behind them with that long touchdown. So those two guys are going to be key for me.
Becca?
I think we're going to need to see some Nick Bosa. Some good Nick Bosa pressure, keeping Henke on his toes. But I couldn't agree more with Beto's point there too.
Patty?
I really want to see another good game from Jimmy Ward. If he can get some jams on Dotson at the line, I think that will be hugely helpful to anything that breaks down. Heineke's one of those guys too. Like, he can keep a play around long enough to like pull something out of his Yahoo. So like, if you can keep him from doing that, like, that would be key. So if you can keep Dotson from being able to break down and get out there and be a part of that solution, I think that's a big key.
And I'm going to go with Ty's favorite, Eric Armstead.
That's my boy.
Yeah, I think he's he needs to have a big game as well. He just, he very quietly, his name isn't brought up often, but he definitely, just as far as the run game and, stuffs the run and everything. And, the double teams sometimes come to him and, free up Nick Bosa and kind of how Justin Smith and Aldon Smith were at one point. But I think Eric Armstead is my pick.
And he's got those long arms. When he puts his hands up, he touches on the, blocking the football. So for sure.
Merry Christmas.
What up, Terradome?
Terradome is in the house.
Niner Beto, you want to do your giveaway?
Yeah, absolutely. I think given that there's beautiful 87 catch by Dwight Clark.
That
is sweet.
Nice little beautiful Dwight Clark remembrance of it, since we're talking a lot of old school football. So I'm going to have my assistant help me here in series. So we're going to pick numbers between 1 and 30. 1 and 30. And then we'll have my lovely assistant series help me out to pick the winner. But between 1 and 30, if you guys want to make your numbers. But yeah, I've been having fun tonight while we're waiting for people to put their numbers. It's fun. It's fun just chatting to Bree, and Matt's keeping me on my heels, man. Let me tell you. Yeah, it's funny.
He usually does.
Yeah, yeah. Funny. But my wife sent me a text earlier when we were having the other discussion. My wife's like, "Hey, what are you guys having? The Niner show?" My wife, because she's watching us. She's she don't like to come. She don't like to put nothing on the screen. But
Maddie, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So I see the jerseys in the background, and then you like showed the jerseys, and it was Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, and then you had Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, my girl.
I saw that. I don't want to see nothing.
My girl. My girl actually bought that for me as first Christmas present. So nice little gift for her. And actually, I did stand up comedy once, and I wore that jersey because it was 2017. It was right after he got traded from New England. So, I wore it just to get heat, and it worked because there were some people that were mad that he got traded and Brady didn't. That's what happens when you live up here. People are insane. So, and at the time, I don't know if you guys remember the Brian Hoyer era. It wasn't going well. It was not.
It was not.
Oh no.
It was a bit of a hot mess, right?
I remember I was a young.
That was rough. And think about it, like. Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't show up here for a second round pick. You're probably we're gonna sit around and wait for Kirk Cousins, right? How's that looking? What would that have been like?
I remember a young Amin when Brian Hoyer was the quarterback, and I remember my cousin, we were going to the Niners game, and he needed a jersey. He had an old Patrick Willis jersey, didn't fit him anymore. He had a jersey. And I think Brian Hoyer had one good game. I think it was like Thursday night against the Rams. We were competitive in that game. So I go and I'm like, he's like, I got to go get a new jersey. And I'm like, go get a Brian Hoyer jersey.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Oh, my
and my uncle was like,
boy.
uncle was like, no, we're not doing
Good
that.
for your uncle.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm glad
we're not doing
Save yourself some money.
Bless him.
Brian, favorite 49ers kicker of all time would be Ray Worshing.
Ray Worshing, right?
Yeah.
Hey, wait, Amin, back to the Garoppolo jersey on the wall. He is the greatest quarterback sneaker of all time. So he does get some placement on the wall.
That is true.
Got to give him his props.
James,
I also don't wear the jerseys on my wall. So, like, that's why they're up there. Like, they're there for special reasons, and I've got them all covered, right? Like, and a lot of the jerseys that I've got inside, like the Ronnie Lott, the Deion Sanders. I only wear the Deion Sanders if Jenny goes with me because she has a matching Deion Sanders one. So we only wore that to Green Bay last year. Hoping to wear that to Vegas next weekend. So, but I usually show up with the Fred Dean or the John Taylor or the Bryant Young.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think Atlanta you wore Fred Dean, right?
Yeah, Atlanta I wore Fred Dean, and then when I went to the Chargers game, I wore Steve Young, the Steve Young 60th anniversary. I'm also addicted to the ones with the anniversary patches from random years, just because I think they look different. So that's why I like to get them. So that's Fred Dean. Good call.
I thought that was Spencer Burford at first, and then I was like, the second guess was Joe Staley.
When I go somewhere,
Amin's going recent.
When I go somewhere, somebody would be like, Joe Staley, or they'll
that's
say,
what I thought. I thought it was Joe Staley.
The only person who ever once said, wow, Fred Dean, was Matt Mayoko when he saw it. He's like, wow, is that a Fred Dean? I'm like, yes, that is a Fred Dean. He couldn't believe it. Like, there's not a lot of people running around Fred Dean. By the way, that autographed Fred Dean I found at the local mall. For
Really?
I'm not kidding you. It was 8 miles from here for I don't know how long. The guy said that it was one of those mystery box things or whatever at the sports card collector store at the mall. Yeah.
Wow.
And like I show up there one day and there's this Fred Dean jersey hanging, and I'm like, you have a Fred Dean autographed jersey here? And he goes, this jersey's been here for 6 years, and you're the first person who's ever come in here and knows who he was.
6 years.
I was like, ooh, a Fred Dean jersey.
It was sitting there. I'm like, oh, $50, I'm in. Sign me up, man. Like,
everybody there must be in their 20s, right?
I went to the mall and found a Sean Hill jersey.
Right? Yeah, good old Sean Hill. By the way, I have a question. The floor, we hear about the floor and the ceiling, right? But to me, there's 3 levels of a house. There's the basement, there's the floor, and there's the ceiling. What do you think the basement, the basement, the floor, and the ceiling is for Brock Purdy?
In what way?
Like in
When
terms
Ball
of like,
State-
let's say the ceiling is a little bit better than Tom Brady, right?
Okay,
say
in
the
comparison
floor-
to someone else is what you mean.
Let's
Okay.
say the floor is Nick Mullins. Let's say the basement is Brian Hoyer or RG3 or Washington Kirk Cousins. I don't know, whoever you want to pick, right? Atlanta Matt Ryan. I don't give a rat's ass. Pick whoever you want for your basement. It's yours. But
you put them in the
that's what I'm
basement,
thinking.
but you put Matt Millen in.
No, Matt Ryan.
Nick
Nick Mullins ahead of Matt Ryan.
I mean, Nick
Yeah,
Mullins. Did you put Nick Mullins? Excuse me, as your floor?
Yeah, it was kind of like it should have been basement, but
it went
like,
from
that's
trash
kinda
to
how that
trash.
worked. Right. I mean, but think of the stuff that he did with Nick Mullins, right?
You remember
Like,
when Niners
he
fans
worked
wanted
with
Nick
the
Mullins
that
to
was
be
there.
the guy?
The guy.
There was
The
a
guy.
time period at one point where Nick Mullins, they were like, Nick Mullins should be the future starting quarterback
Oh,
of the
please.
San Francisco 49ers.
I'm telling you, this franchise, this fan base is addicted to it, and they've been doing it for years, and it will never ever stop. It is this
Can we change the
vicious
floor
cycle
to
of growth.
maybe Alex Smith?
It's been going on since the beginning of time.
Yeah, I
The
think the
absolute
floor could
beginning
be
of time.
Alex Smith. I think no.
The floor could be Alex Smith.
Yeah.
I can agree
give
with
me a
that.
little bit more of a gauge because I mean, from those guys from the basement to the floor.
Would you consider Mullins the basement guy?
Yeah, I would consider not even the basement. I consider him the guy outside. They can't even make the basement.
Well, I mean, you've got to gotta go from something.
What are you calling?
Yeah,
Are you calling
I'm
Nick
proud
Mullins?
here
Are you calling
tonight.
Nick Mullins the raccoon? Are you calling Nick Mullins the raccoon?
Brian Hoyer is the guy
On the
outside.
bottom of the trash is
The
so bad.
raccoon.
We'll call him
Rough
Rocket
crowd
Mullins
tonight.
from now on. That's what we'll do.
Oh, he's terrible.
I love it.
But if those are the tier, I would right now I would say probably the floor of him is probably in between the basement and the floor for Purdy. I'm not going to put him in the ceiling yet because we haven't seen everything from him. We need to see more. I have to see more of him, especially in the playoffs. That's where we're going to get a really true testament of what this kid can do, how he handles the pressure of really, because these games, I mean, you got to win every game, but in the playoffs, you lose, you're out. And nobody really realized how much pressure that really can put on somebody, especially on a rookie. So I would say in between those guys and Alex Smith, and between hopefully more close to Alex Smith in that basement for me.
Hey, I want to give you all a part 2 of that Jersey story that I gave you about Brian Hoyer. So we ended up going to the Niners game. We ended up after the Niners game, we go to the shop. We leave the game a little bit early. We go to the shop, and we're checking out jerseys. Right? There was obviously Carlos Hyde was on the team at that time, and then a number 56 jersey was there. Number 56, Reuben Foster, right? And my uncle, right? And my uncle saw Reuben Foster jersey, and they were like, Reuben Foster. Reuben Foster had a good game that particular Sunday. Okay, was out making tackles, doing his thing. So my uncle buys 2 Reuben Foster jersey, one for my older cousin, one for my younger cousin. Right? They're like, Reuben Foster, wow. My uncle, and I quote, he's gonna be on the team, and he's really good, and he will be on the team for a long time. Get his jersey. And boom, like a year later, 2 years later.
Moral of the story: when Amin tells you to get someone's jersey, a young player,
don't
do it.
Do the
this
opposite.
rookie's going to be around for 10 years. Don't do it.
Amin's uncle did not have the call on that one. He didn't have it.
Before any player before their first major contract, I don't get their jersey. I have to wait for that major first contract.
I bought a Trey Lance jersey. I hope that pays off. That's all I'll say. I bought a Trey Lance jersey.
So did I.
So it's you. It's your fault.
A week after the draft. So far, I mean,
I have a rule if they're
got a
younger than
Purdy
me, I
jersey
can't wear
yet?
their jersey. Like that's just I can't. It just seems wrong.
My newest jersey is Christian McCaffrey. I really hope it works out.
Yeah, I think you'll be safe. Now, keep in mind he might go back to 22 next year.
Really?
Yeah. The only reason why he can go to 22 today, he couldn't get it.
Then you need to get the 23 one signed because it'll be rare and it'll be more valuable.
It'll be like when Kobe went from 8 to 24.
Yeah, right. When Kobe switched.
Or Jordan
I gotta get on
wore
that.
45 for a little bit too. So
let me go ahead and pick that number real quick.
Yeah,
for that
Beto, put that number.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So everybody put their
It
number.
seems like, hold on one second. It seems like there's a little bit more people in the chat.
Okay.
Niner Beto is doing a patch giveaway. So if you would like, pick a number. There's the patch right there. Pretty cool.
Yeah, between 1 and 30, he said.
Between 1 and 30, yes.
Between 1 and 30, pick your number.
For those that came in a little bit late, you have time to put in your number. King 80 Brock. Basement is Alex. Floor is Jimmy G. Ceiling is
It's way too early to tell. It's way too early. This kid has entered into the perfect storm as a quarterback.
Sure has.
A 100% healthy team, clicking on all cylinders, offensive weapons galore.
Yes.
And a mastermind play caller. I mean, it's the perfect storm to step into.
And a couple things
too.
Scenario.
Let's hold off until anointing him until we see more, because we did the same thing with James Arthur. He played 6 quarters of football, came here, and it was like, oh, we got something.
Woo!
Well, I don't think they had anything until they beat 5-0. That's when they believed in it.
That's when they believed in it. But a lot of that was the defense shutting them down. We put up points, but a lot of people still say he went 5-0. And if you look at those games, there was a lot of games like he's normally played in his career, where the run game did well, the defense held them down, and we scored, 23 points, but we held the other team. Let's stop anointing these people until we see more. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with Ty. I agree 100% with you. Give him a chance. Give him a chance.
Give him a chance. I mean, enjoy this ride. The Brock Express is rolling.
Yeah.
I just like to see the range that people have in their head on this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Rock and roll.
We're living the ride right now.
Rock the mic.
Yeah, don't go too low and don't
Rock
go
it
too
like it's
extreme.
hot. Rock it like it's
Rock it like it's hot.
That's right.
That's a good one. I like that one, I mean. Actually, a couple things. Non-quarterback, Debo was doing some light work today on the side field, so that's a good sign. And Javon Kinlaw was practicing.
Yep.
First time since week 3, which was pretty cool to see some of the videos. I know Cam Inman had some stuff out there. And this slide I wanted to bring up, this kind of warms my heart. The Rams are the first defending Super Bowl champions, have a losing record.
You didn't run onto the field to celebrate that, I see.
Nope.
Yeah.
Asshat.
Warms my heart.
Yeah, and Richard Sherman on the Kinlaw thing was like, the rich get richer and the richer get even richer, really just complimenting the Niner defense on, oh, look, they have one more guy who's going to come back and really fortify this whole defensive system. Yeah.
Now I'm going to be with Ty a little bit when he came not to anoint the quarterback yet. Wait until he proves more. I'm in the same boat with Javon Kinlaw. Him just coming back it's all right. He's coming back. Can he stay on the field and be productive?
Can he sustain it?
Because we know he can come back.
Get through the playoffs.
Yes.
Those were my expectations before the season started. I was like, Javon, just stay healthy. Be healthy for the majority. Like, if you could play 13, 14 games this season, I would say that's a successful season, right? Yep. Then if you could do that and you could hit that milestone, or you could hit that, if you can hit that, then next year, right, then we're all right, 4 sacks out of you or 5 sacks out of you, right? But this year, my only expectation was just try to stay healthy for as many games as you can possible. Sadly, he hasn't been able to do that. But, I mean, Javon Kinlaw, I went to training camp, and I think I've said this to Jess before, but Javon Kinlaw is a freak of a human being. Like, he's huge. Like, Nick Bosa was right next to Javon Kinlaw, and he made Nick Bosa look small in a way. I mean, Javon Kinlaw is a big dude.
Yeah,
he is a big dude.
Yeah.
What's the name of that? The guy comes on YouTube. I can't think of his name. There when they had a little bit of problem with Javon.
Oh,
Grant Cohn.
Yeah, Grant Cohn. He'll tell you how big Javon is.
Yeah, Grant Cohn. I remember
going.
When I went out to California for the home opener, and I met Javon Kinlaw, and I took my picture with him, and he's a big guy. They're all big guys.
Yeah,
Bryant
Beto, I think
Bryant
everybody
with
has
number
their number
3.
in.
I saw
Go ahead
it.
and pick Beto. People got their numbers in.
okay. Let's see here. Series, pick a number between 1 and 30. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 30. 3. Look at Bryant.
She did not.
Series, Bryant, how much you pay Series, man?
Wait, that was the answer, 3?
Yeah.
3?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bryant's got all the algorithms just pointed toward 3.
Wow.
Yep.
And he said it 2 times. He said it at the
Bryant.
beginning, and he said it. He didn't switch up his pick. He said it twice.
Oh, he's going to get that 3 in.
Yeah, he
me
knew.
say.
It's almost like he knew. He was like 3. I got it. I'm not gonna say only one time. I got it 2 times. 3.
Brian always wins.
It's
with
the magic
3.
number.
Bryant really makes out on this show.
Yeah, clean the house.
A shirt, a hat, now a patch. Congrats,
Good
Bryant.
for you, Bryant. Hey.
Congrats.
So does anybody else have anything more to add? Offense, defense, anything?
Nope.
It's funny how we talked about offense and defense, but did any of us speak anything about special teams?
Nope.
Maddie, this is your
Oh,
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Matt.
Sign language, Brett.
But this is exactly what you want. You don't want to talk about the special teams. If you're talking about the special teams, something bad
Very
is
true.
probably happening,
Yep.
right?
Ah, okay. Fair enough.
I mean, that's the way it has been with this franchise for quite a few years. This franchise's special teams this year has slowly but surely increased to where you want it. And Ray McLeod is finally at a point too where like he's catching the ball aggressively. You feel confident when he's got the ball that something might happen with it. Like feel really good about him. And I feel as confident with him returning kicks, returning punts as I did with Ted Ginn doing it. And it's been a long time since that happened. So
All right, guys. Amin the Dream has to leave us. Amin, thank you so much for joining us.
Hope you
Thanks
get
for
in
your
trouble,
support
Amin.
as always.
It was a pleasure coming on with you guys. Love the hat, Niner Beto. Love the hat tie. Love the jerseys in the background, Niner Jess and Maddie. Love the background also. The Niner logo in the background, Bex. Appreciate you guys having me on. I got finals to study for. I got one more final, one more day, and then I'm off to winter break. So I got some schoolwork to do, but it was a pleasure talking Niner ball with you guys tonight.
All right, awesome.
Take it easy, dude.
Thanks,
Have a good one.
Amin. Good luck.
Holidays.
Thank you. Later. Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.
Hey, Bryant, man, we I know we make fun of your number, but we appreciate the support, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're a great
Yes.
dude. You're welcome anytime, man. For real.
Yeah, definitely.
Brian, he's a great supporter. He supports my channel. He supports a lot of channels. I see him.
Everybody, yeah, he's a faithful, for real. Like,
Yeah.
I'm in people's chats and he's right there and we're talking to each other. So, yeah.
All right. So, with that said, I guess let's go to our hurry up offense and the 2-minute warning. And Beto, what we do here is we all have to just say something within the 2 minutes, obviously about the 49ers and, so
Any
just
closing thoughts? And
closing
Minor
thoughts.
In the 2-minute window. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's set it off.
Ty, you're up.
Hey, Thursday's game was not perfect, but it damn sure felt perfect because we finally got a victory in Seattle. An easy one. It wasn't a heartbreaker, a heart-clenching one. So I think that's a sign of things to come, that we've reached a hump that we got over, and I think this team is going to go. That's all I got.
We are going on a run here. Everything's clicking at the right time. My man George Kittle's getting more involved. The defense is playing lights out. Go Niners. Let's keep rolling. Let's keep this thing going. And faithful, enjoy the ride. Let's not talk about the quarterbacks. Let's not talk about a controversy that doesn't exist. Just enjoy the ride. It's been a while since we had this. Enjoy it. Go Niners.
like my old friend T-Os used to say, just get your popcorn ready, enjoy the show, watch this team get as far as it's going to go, and have fun. And Kyle Shanahan, please get out of your own head sometimes and stop running McCaffrey so much. Bring in the youngster and get out of your head, man, because sometimes he's so much into himself that he wants to run his way. So, and Mike McClinchy, don't be tackling any ghosts anymore. Make sure you tackle an actual defender.
All gas, no brakes. Let's go. We're in the closing quarter. Let's do it. Let's close out these last 3 games and get these wins and up that seed. Maybe we walk away with the 2 seed, but whatever it is, it is. We're ready. This team's playing lights out. Go Niners.
Maddie.
Don't forget the 1983 NFC title game. Washington robbed the 49ers. Never forget that.
Ooh.
Never, ever forget that.
Never.
Highway robbery, smarm job.
I remember that, Matt.
Ridiculous. Anything bad that happens to the Washington franchise is deserved since that game. You need to look it up. Go watch it on the tube. I'll probably retweet Bill Walsh's post-game comments from that game later because it was probably the greatest official rip of all time because, quote, he said he felt bad for them. And it was the greatest thing in my life. I don't know if he got fined or not, but he said he felt bad for them. Like they were put in over their heads. Like it was the most passive aggressive, amazing.
Like, oh, you poor thing.
He's like, and I feel bad for the officials. He goes, it was great. It was great. It's a light up job. Screw Washington. Thank you.
That's what my daughter said too.
Guys, make sure you like and subscribe, even turn those notifications on. Thank you so much to Amin the Dream, Niner Beto of Niner Sickness Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. And we are out. Go
Happy holidays,
Niners.
everybody.
Let's get this dub on Saturday. Merry
Niners.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Go Niners.
Happy
And of
Hanukkah.
course, for the upstart 49ers, they're 6 yards away from Pontiac. 3rd and 3.
We'll see a pickup sometime on the right side, possibly.
Montana